Well, hey, howdy, hi there. It's Friday. How's everybody doing? Hi, girls.
Hey.
Hi, everybody in
Hola.
chat. Sorry. I can't. Hold on a minute. I'm going to choke. Hold on.
Don't choke.
I have
Maybe
something.
later.
I know. We don't kink shame. I'm saving that for later. Don't be telling people our business, Dr. B.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. So we're basically just waiting for the girls who are always tardy for the party, Teresa from Criminality and Brittany. Maybe we should go ahead and start the over under on how many times Brittany will be dropped from panel accidentally on purpose. I don't know if she does it on accident, if she does it on purpose, if she's like, I just need a minute, I'm gonna dip. I just need to collect myself.
Yeah, most of the time it's on accident, but there are different reasonings behind the accidents. So
Ooh, there's different. Are they good reasons? Like juicy reasons? I mean, not
no. Usually her phone dies or she will just her internet sucks where she is. So sometimes that'll happen. Sometimes she'll just kick herself off. Hey T.
Hi, you guys. I'm so sorry.
Babe. Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I just was like, I can't make people wait anymore. I feel bad. So I was like, I'm just starting live.
Christine gives me crap all the time.
Well, you have
Hey,
T.
Hi, Dr. B.
It's been a while.
I know. I'm glad you're here.
Me too. I was voluntold to be here.
It's for her own good because she's been sucked into this case just as much as I have, and we've been talking about it all the days, and so it's importante for her to be here.
Muy.
Well, I like it when she's just around, regardless whether she likes the case or not.
Me too.
She always has good thoughts anyway.
She does, but this is why I force her. So if you guys are new here to my channel because you came from Criminality or you came from Brittany, I make jokes. Okay. I recognize the crime is serious and it's a heinous crime and it's not, the crime itself is not a joke. However, some of the shenanigans and stuff that people say and do is laughable, and I do crack jokes. So please don't be offended.
The whole courtroom burst into laughter today a couple of times. So
they sure did. So that's how
Krispy Kreme was awesome.
I know.
The Krispy Kreme.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, it was Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, well, of course it was Krispy Kreme.
Well, people don't understand. Okay, see, if it were me, all right, and somebody came over to my house at, I don't give a rat's fat kneecap what time of day or night it was, with Whataburger, I would be up and at 'em because I don't have Whataburger here. I haven't had Whataburger since I left Texas, and I miss it. Also, I would do the same thing for Jack in the Box.
Yeah, see, I would Jack. No, I just wouldn't for Jack in the Box.
Well, obviously you have
I've
not
never had either.
Delicious... What?
Who? Same.
You have
clearly there's like some click stuff going on.
Oh my God! You
no, I've never had either.
Oh my
ultimate
God!
Bacon cheeseburger is what you got to go with. I have a
we don't have them up here.
What?
Well,
we've got to, I'm going to have to, like, we're going to have like a get together at some point for all the true crime community. And I'm going to import delicious cheeseburgers from all around that people can't get just everywhere. I can't even say there's a good Florida burger place.
We don't have a Whataburger. Yeah, we don't have
that. We do at the Mall of America, I think. But I obviously don't go there a ton, so.
We have In-N-Out. Do you have In-N-Out?
In-N-Out's like Sonic, yeah.
Yeah,
and I had In-N-Out in Texas.
I've had In-N-Out once.
It tasted like Sonic to me.
Oh gosh, no.
Oh gosh, no.
I had In-N-Out once in Vegas.
They moved. I remember when they brought one to Frisco, and there was lines around the block. I waited until the fanfare died down, and then I went, and I was like, it's like Sonic.
I thought you were
It's
talking
like
about
Sonic.
different kind of lines. Not gonna lie.
White
I mean, it
line.
is the Murdaugh trial. Come on now. You know Poot's got line around the blocks.
Oh, bless his heart. He was in a rage today. But before we get started, I just would like to remind everybody of this. Please hold.
And Kai, when you're on Jen Lou's channel, what do you do with the like button?
Smash, smash, smash. Yeah.
I love that. What do you do when you're on
Those
Jen Lou's
reviews
channel?
made that for me. Isn't that nice?
It's beautiful.
All right. So where should we start today, girls? Because there was a lot.
Well, I mean, there was a lot.
Don't
Let's just start
everybody
with
jump
Blanca.
in all at
Let's
once.
Let's just go with Blanca. Well, I don't know, because I'm going with,
Yeah.
you know, I'm still stuck on the phone stuff. I actually listened to the phone stuff 3 times.
Oh, thank
I
God.
don't understand the phone stuff.
So we can start with it, because I was going to say phone stuff, but then I was like, that's towards the end of the day. So let's go back. We can go back to the beginning of the day. But the phone stuff for me was kind of frustrating, because I actually had caught up with the trial live, and I like to watch it from behind. But you had got me so curious this morning with your message that I was like trying to hurry.
I'm
And
sorry,
so
I caused you to watch it faster than you
you
were
could,
prepared to watch.
more 1.5 for me. So
I'm sorry.
I was watching it live, so I could actually see like the comments that actually made sense, you know, that go with what you're listening to. And people were like, "Oh, this is it. This is like the nail in the coffin, and this is, you know, the big thing." And I was like, I don't hear anything. Like, what happened? So I went back and listened again, because I'm like, I didn't get it.
I can play parts of it if you tell me what you want to hear, what
Nothing.
you
I
think we
listened to
should
it 3
hear.
times. There's literally nothing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
I agree, Teresa. I think so. I was trying to listen, like on speed, whatever, to try to catch up, because I don't like to slag. But and I didn't catch all of it. But I did catch the whole phone testimony. But I'm saying, like, all day today, I didn't get through all of it. But same thing with the phone thing. I was trying to like listen for what is he talking about, and I think that at some point earlier in the trial, and you guys are going to know better than me, but wasn't there some testimony regarding phones where the agent said that they didn't have the capability to do whatever, but the FBI did? So I'm wondering if this is them just putting the FBI with their part of the case, because I feel like the regular flow of presentation of their witnesses was kind of interrupted with this whole financial crime thing. So I don't know if they're now like going back to, you know, well, here's some of this evidence. Like, I don't know. So that's where I'm at with that, because I didn't see anything like super significant about the FBI guy either.
Yeah, it kind of flopped for me. I thought they were all just, I thought they're exactly where they all said they were. I'm like, okay, great.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
expecting
didn't
something
understand
more
it.
in the aspect of like him not potentially making the phone call from like the kennels or something like that it was being made somewhere else, and that's what I was hoping to hear. But it just went way over my head. I was like, I don't even understand what you're saying.
That was the big
Yeah, I
suggestion.
think they're. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're good. I was just saying that was the big suggestion. They were trying to say, like, if that was a bombshell, but it was really
Right.
that the call to 911 bounced off the other side to kind of push him further into Moselle than the kennels, is really all I got from that. But then he kind of said, the expert guy just says, like, but it goes to, your phone will try to hit the tower that's the strongest, not necessarily the closest.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so now that became irrelevant, because it doesn't, I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't earlier today, but it was before the financial evidence was introduced. I think they were going over some cell phone data, and there was a guy from SLED, and he was talking about extracting or getting whatever. And whatever computer program they have did not have the capacity to look at certain data, so they forwarded it to the FBI. So
I
that's
remember
what
that
I'm
about the
wondering.
car data.
Okay.
Huh?
Yeah.
I
What
remember
there
that
was,
about that car thing.
yeah, the car, and there was something with the telephones as well.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
And
that
then,
was earlier.
but then the FBI guy did testify, I thought,
Oh,
about what
okay.
they
I
found
don't know.
on. Look, all I wanted to know, honestly, with the phone was who chunked.
SLED is not the FBI.
No,
Sorry.
I just wanted to know who chunked Maggie's phone out of, chunked it, where they chunked it, where, you know, that's all I wanted to know.
Well, I thought they had the location, like where they found it, right?
They do.
Thank you, Seth, very much, and welcome. Hold on, I have to be mature. I have to be responsible. Thank you so much, Seth, and welcome, Lori. Welcome to the Kookaloos. Are you laughing at me being
Did
responsible?
you just say Blue's Clues?
No, Kookaloos.
Oh.
Kookaloos. I sung it. Thank you guys so much. They know, okay, they know where they, oh, this is the thing with the phones. Paul's phone, the battery died at like 10:30 or something like that, okay? But Maggie's phone was on when they recovered it from down the road a piece. And I just need to know who threw the phone. I
They
want
didn't
to
prove it
know.
today. They didn't prove
No,
anything
they
today.
didn't, because I felt, I mean, maybe, that's why I'm asking you guys. Look, I'm just going to keep it real. I was up at the butt crack of dawn this morning for literally zero reason. And I take a nap every day, but sometimes I only lay down for like an hour. Most days I do. But for whatever reason, because I was at the butt crack of dawn today, and I passed completely smooth out during the cell phone tower explanation. I was out like a light. I was behind on everything. It was a nightmare. So I missed it. I did, however, catch the end of the trial, and I did catch Blanca. I did catch the Harpoo being askew. I caught Objectiongate.
Yep.
And I caught when Judge Newman flounced. He was like, I'm out. Had it
Oh,
with you
totally
fuckers.
did.
He
He's like,
did.
you guys figure it out. I'll be back and I'll rule. You guys talk about it amongst yourselves or whatever. It was so, I was like,
I'm fixing to replay that. Let me find it.
I wish they'd kept the cameras on so we could see what the courtroom got to see.
I know.
So rude. Sometimes it makes me mad when, listen, I don't want to be too judgy about the whole, you know, they're doing the split screen law and crime. I'm really glad for that. And it's really cool and shit like that. But like sometimes they do it at the worst time. They decide to change camera angles. Yeah, I wish they would just call me. You don't have to call me. Just send me a text and ask me, hey, is this a good time for a camera switch? And I'll be like, no, hell no, don't do that. You know who else I want to talk about, because he finished up today? Tinsley. What did y'all think about him today?
That was not a very nice human being.
I missed it this morning.
I liked him at first.
I did too.
Mallory's like, eh.
Eh.
You didn't like him the first time around when he was doing it just for the judge?
I don't know. He's hard for me to read.
It really irritated me, the whole thing that he actually paid money to Shelley.
Right.
And that there was nothing that the court was going to do about it.
Mm-hmm.
My thing with Tinsley is this. When he testified in front of the judge, he was relatable. He seemed like he genuinely cared about the Beach family and their loss. And
Mhm.
he was, dare I say, I know this is a foreboding word, he seemed to be advocating for his hi everybody coming in. They do need to put me on speed dial, CBCal, they do. He seemed like he was advocating for his clients. He really had he knew that he was being fed a line of bullshit and he wasn't having it. And I thought that was admirable of him. And then when he did the Attila the Hun versus the little old granny, that was an excellent analogy. But then he was completely like a whole different person testifying in front of the jury. He wanted to talk too much. He wanted to expound too much, which is also talking too much. He was just too much at times in the worst way and at the worst times. And it just came off kind of smarmy and used car salesman to me, and I didn't really care.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I was wondering about that because, like, even though he was feisty and everything and advocate-y in front of the judge, that's like one thing, but the jury is a whole other thing. And he wants this case to end with a guilty plea so that he can collect whatever $1 million he is trying to collect. So him being a lawyer and knowing like what the jury needs to hear, wants to see, I'm wondering if he was playing on that.
Well, I think that he was, but the thing of it is, it would have been better if he did it the other way around. If he had come off in front of the jury the way he did in front of the judge. If he had come off more advocating and genuine and sincere. See, the only thing the judge, this is why I was annoyed about it, because all the judge wanted to hear from him was his story, what went on, yada yada yada, right? Because that's how he was going to base his determination of whether or not he allowed the financial stuff in, right? And he was so genuine. I wish he would have been genuine in front of the jury. He came off as disingenuous in front of the jury to me. That's what was
right, and that was
problematic.
That was his second time around, like giving the same testimony, and I think this time, again, like adding the pressure of the jury, and then also after, probably getting a lot of positive feedback from the internet after his first performance, that he probably like let it stroke his ego a little bit, and like it came through in the.
That's true. That's a good point. Jury. And then he just went a little too extra.
He was tainted. He felt like a celebrity.
Well, and I know some of the reason he had to was because I cannot remember who it was, but who said, I think it was her daughter, but Shelley, Miss Libby's, which is Alex's mom, her caregiver, all right, one of her caregivers. She was so, you could tell that she didn't want that she didn't want to be up there. She didn't want to be saying the things that she was saying, but she had no choice because she had to say the truth, and that's that. And so at the end of the day, that's, but anyway, they started a GoFundMe for her. And Tinsley contributed to it in his name, and then changed it to anonymous. And of course, Griffin was upset about it. Your Honor, you know who Jim Griffin sounds like to me? He's almost like a foghorn leghorn to me. Your Honor, I said, look what you did. He done made a GoFundMe and he put it in his name. That's inappropriate, Your Honor. And I was just like, calm the fuck down. he did it after. First of all, it'd be different if the GoFundMe was made before she testified. Then I could see that he had some, dog in the fight. You better.
But the thing is, like, you can't just go pay in witnesses.
Do what?
But
You can't just go pay in witnesses.
She's not a witness in his trial, I guess.
But he has a vested interest in the outcome of this trial.
Right, but he still, like, that's the ethical thing of the, like, I think that, see, that's why the ethics are, like, so whatever around it, because especially with, like, lawyers, because I don't know, I feel like I side with the judge in this, because it doesn't, like, I understand that, like, with his personality or whatever, like, obviously he has an interest in this, and obviously this was, like, some sort of stunt or whatever, but in general, like, I feel like he shouldn't be prevented, or if he wants to, donate to someone, he should be able to donate regardless of if they're doing their civic duty of, like, I don't know, responding to a subpoena in a fucking murder trial. Ooh, sorry.
I mean, yeah, like,
that was the
it's
first
not like
one.
it's not like she's just, she's handing out beverages outside out of the goodness of her heart. No, her ass was subpoena, and she didn't want to be there, and she had to do it anyways, and she didn't want to have to say the shit she said. I felt bad for her.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. I just don't think he should have been able to do that in the middle of the trial. Like, go hand her all the money you want to later on down the road or whatever. I just don't think it was slimy to me. Like, okay, so I'm gonna say it. He was talking today, and they were like, the attorney was like, weren't you going through a divorce? And he was like, yeah, I was. And I was like, yeah, I wonder why. Because you're kind of a jerk.
I thought was.
I wish Alec would have gone through a divorce. Shit.
Well, I just what do you guys think about Buster supposedly flipping him off?
I saw that.
I know. I mean, Buster just looks like like someone who would be sarcastic and snarky. So that would kind of like a millennial thing to do. So I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, also, I can't say that there hasn't been a time or two that yours truly has flipped somebody off on the low and tried to act like it wasn't. That's not what I was doing. I mean, look, like, I can't, like, I get his position or whatever, but I mean, okay, let me be fair about this. In general, it's not the worst thing in the world, right? To pretend to flip somebody off on the low and try to make it look like you're biting your nail. In general,
probably I mean, that's
not
a Jodi Arias thing, right? Like,
do what?
That's Jodi Arias' staple.
But to do it in the middle of your father's murder trial.
Well, Jodi did it. Didn't Jodi do it to, like, who did she do it to? Wait.
Oh, I know Ben Chew did it throughout the whole time Amber Heard was testifying.
Well, Jodi was doing it too for like a while to someone. I can't remember who. Oh, duh, Nancy Grace.
Oh, well, I can't really blame Jodi for that. I'm sorry.
Nancy's at the Murdaugh trial.
Mm-hmm.
Is she?
Yeah, you see her sitting in one, and I didn't see her. I hadn't seen her the last couple of days, but I did see her, like, right in one of the front rows in the press seats.
Yeah.
Bless it. That's all we need is Nancy Grace out there. Look, okay, here's the deal. I can handle Nancy Grace is like
How much time are you going to take to try to come up with something tactfully?
Nancy Grace is like lead. All right. A little exposure to her isn't going to hurt you. Like, for an x-ray, it's why you wear the not lead, whatever the hell's in x-rays that they're trying to radiation or whatever. Like, in small doses, she's okay. All right. Like, I can take her show. Really what needs to happen is Nancy needs to take the Ashley Banfield stance. 9 minutes, maybe She gets the whole, that's it. It's all she gets. 9 minutes out. That's all the time she has forever. A night. That I can take. But
any more doses of it and you have Chernobyl.
correct. Correct. She's okay in
all of a
small
sudden
doses.
she's set up in front of your house with a billboard and a plastic table and gloves and
When I
they
first
put
saw her there, I
crew.
thought that was a green screen. And then I was like,
too.
oh crap.
Oh.
Look who it, Shmita, if you're on the panel,
Shmita.
oh, Molson's Monic. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Shmita.
Oh my
Hello.
gosh.
Hi, Shmeen.
Hello.
Did you watch
Corinne.
today, Shmita?
I watched what I could.
What did you watch today, Shmita?
I watched the lady on.
The lady. Which
the
lady?
Blanca.
No,
Miss
don't
B.
help her, Dr. B, because two ladies testified.
Hey, I gotta
Eyes on
help
your
my
own
B
paper.
out. Come on.
Eyes on your own paper, Shmita. Just kidding.
At one point she was saying like how Paul would be like, hey, Miss B, and literally I was like, huh? What?
So what you think, Shmita?
I don't know. I have a hard time with it because there's so many interesting details, but the way that they're drawing it out is so boring to me. And like my ADD is like oop, something else, and I don't know. I have a hard time watching the trial.
There was a whole fight. What are you talking about?
Shmita's like, speed it up, boys. Come on.
Today was feisty.
I don't know. I'm having such a hard time getting into the trial, but like all the information, it is like interesting to me. I just can't. I don't know.
That's why you got to watch it on 1.5. I'm telling you, the best way to do it. And then you can skip over all the breaks, the lunch hour. It's like bada bing, bada boom.
I like to watch it as it's happening. I do all my things with the trial in the background.
When they tell me, all right, let's break for lunch, that's like, it hits me in my heart when I'm watching it live, because it's like, what am I going to do for the next hour? Like, what do you mean lunch? You don't get to eat.
That's when I go take a shower.
Entertain me, peasant.
That's when I take a shower or my nap. One of the two. Depends on what's going on for the day. Sometimes I take it before everything starts or at the beginning. And then sometimes I be taking it at lunch. Sometimes I take my nap at lunch. You know, I like to mix it up.
My ADD is like, if I'm focused, I'm focused. If you got to break me for any reason, I'm gone.
That's
and
me.
I'm not coming back.
That's me.
All
I
right.
get too distracted. And then I'm just, whoop. I don't know.
Let's see here.
Okay, so the other caretaker testified today.
Yes.
Yep.
Did the one, she brings up the Krispy Kreme donuts.
Miss Krispy Kreme.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the point of her testimony?
About
I don't know.
if it's unusual for him to come there at a certain time at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We had
what it was.
switched shifts.
See,
And Miss Shelley said that she was covering that night or something,
Yep.
that it's not her
Yes.
usual shift, so she
It's
wouldn't
not.
be able to tell them.
Yep.
Exactly.
So she switched shifts. And she usually would have been there, but she wasn't. Because of that.
so that's why she couldn't. But she said,
Which was
No.
kind of stupid because it's irrelevant. Like, who cares how many times he goes there? Like, the lady's traumatized, clearly. Like, you see how, like, she was trying to respond and get it over with. And
yeah, because she still works there. She still
Of
works for Miss
course.
Libby, so she can't say shit. She was in fear for her job. Bless her heart. Miss Shelley.
so why would they put, that's what I'm saying. Like, the state is now, like, I feel like, they've got that Tinsley, ego thing going now, because now they're like just doing too much, because when Alec puts his appeal together, like, I think he's gonna make a couple of good points in there. I mean, is it ever gonna, is anything gonna come of it? I don't know. But Like, they're really playing, in my opinion.
Well, I think this is what I think is the problem. There is definite ego. Yes, I was just going to answer Jade. Yes, Gloria Satterfield, her son has been on, but as far as anything pertaining to Gloria and the way that she died, they didn't really go into it. They mainly went into the fact that Alex stole from her boys. Shiesty ass motherfucker. Anyway,
Did you see Multiman's comment?
where?
That Hewson wrote.
Kathleen
Murdaugh?
Houston. Yes, I saw that. Huh?
I didn't know that.
Neither did I. I have to check it out. So this is what I think is part of the problem. I think part of the issue is that there is ego involved. I think the prosecutor, think about how, first of all, it's murder, which is obviously bad, right? I'm not pro-murder at all. I'm anti. But it's an attorney. And he was in a position of trust, like, because he's a personal injury attorney and he stole from his clients. Like, he just is the epitome of the bad lawyer jokes. You know what I mean? And I also think that what I find very interesting is the way that Alec's defense team says that they honed in and treated Alec like a suspect from jump, but they didn't. And when they cross-examine any of the SLED or any of the first responding officers, anybody, hey, designing my life, they're all like, no, we let her, Blanca she went right through the front gates. She wasn't stopped. They didn't tell her, hey, no, you can't be in there. None of that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm worried that this is my worry. I'm very, very concerned that because they've thrown in so much of the financial stuff, the jury is going to say, well, he's got a whole financial crimes trial coming up. And that seems pretty solid. So if we don't find him guilty, it's not going to be a big deal. He's still not getting out of prison. You know what I mean? That's what I'm worried about. And the way that they've laid out the trial, where's the medical examiner? Is she going to be, welcome, Breadstick. Thank you. Last Breadstick. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Colors. Is a medical examiner going to testify at some point? Was an autopsy even fucking done? I mean, I've never seen a trial go like this in this order. It's all out of whack. I don't know.
I agree. It's because they got all this financial stuff they wanted in there.
It seems to establish motive, which they don't even have to prove.
Right. Because I think what they're trying to do is bolster the weak forensic case that they have.
Well, I don't think it's weak, though.
Thank you,
I
Emily.
think they got a pretty strong, circumstantial case. And I think a little bit of this financial stuff, sprinkled on top of it. You didn't necessarily have to bring in, the whole county to testify about every interaction they had with any of the Murdaughs. That's the overkill part of it. But just hearing Jeannie and hearing the CEO guy, that would have been sufficient. He owed a lot of money. He stole a lot of money. And on the day he was confronted, we have this murder. Bam, that's good enough. I don't care about Krispy Kreme donuts.
Thank you, Emily Flotia, for gifting a membership. I don't know who got it, but thank you. Thank you very much. That was very sweet of you. I just feel like, oh no, he's in the jail. He didn't get any bail. Mm-mm. And if they say rehab one more time, I'm tired of hearing about that too. Because you know what? They can't bring it in because it's character. And every time they say it, all I hear is They try to make me go to rehab, but I said no, no, no. And then it's stuck in my head all day long, and it's upsetting.
And
The
I think
coroner is
about
on the list when? On the last day of fucking trial? Like, he or she should have been at the beginning.
you know who I think about when they talk about rehab?
Who?
Grant Amato. And
Oh.
him going to that cornerstone for a porn addiction and then coming back saying, oh, they said I'm fine. I didn't need to be there. Oh.
All right, this is a good question. What is the biggest innocent flag to y'all? This is from LFT. It's a good question, LFT. Let's start with Dr. B and go around the panel.
Presumption of innocence? No. I don't know. Like, I guess, you know.
It lays it out there. Nobody else even has to talk.
Right.
It's the entire, that's the whole point of the trial, right? Is to figure out, hi, what's the evidence you got? Because you really can't take people's stories on their face, obviously. So I wouldn't be able to say there's like one innocence flag. Like, I guess if there's one innocent flag, it would be like his phone wasn't in the area or he had a strong alibi, I guess, like, you know, something. But not when you're around the place of the around the crime scene with like laundry smelling clothes and putting on that whole show with like your whole financial thing crumbling around you. Like that would definitely not be an innocence flag for me. Like that would be like, I need to know more.
All right. Shmita.
Yes.
Hold on. Welcome. Thank you, Nora's grandma. Welcome to the 11 billion club. All right, hit it, Shmita.
For me, it's the timeline, like the length of time from him. Like, what is it, like 7 minutes that he has to get from point A to point B, shower, change, dispose of stuff, and then get back. I just don't know if they can prove that in that short amount of time. I don't know.
I don't understand. 7 minutes from what, babe?
From like, I don't know. I think it was like his phone messages or pings or something.
Well, I figured that's
it's kind of, I think it's a little bit longer. Hold on, I'll tell you the exact time. Let me pull it up real quick.
Well,
I know what you're talking about.
You did okay, good.
Yeah, I just gotta pull up my head.
What about you, Mallory? While Teresa's pulling up a list for Shmita.
Well, I've been trying to think about it since you asked the question. I don't necessarily think there's any innocent flags based on evidence yet for me, I guess. But I do think there's a lot of things that could potentially ruin the case and get him off for the case, but not necessarily something where I'm like, oh, if that comes in true, then it means he's innocent. Like, I haven't seen anything that's like in my face an innocent flag, but I've definitely seen things done that would put up more of like a, oh shit, that's going to be something that causes a problem.
Okay.
Okay, so for Shmita's thing, the last phone data, or last time Paul's phone was used was at 8:49.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually 8:48:05, and then 8:49 is when the text comes in. So we think that he was killed somewhere right after 8:48:05. So at 8:49, right?
All right, right.
And then the first time that Alex tries calling and the calls are missed is at 9:04. So I think that's the minutes that she's talking about, is in between the last times the phone was used. So now Maggie's phone, the last time that her phone is used is at 8:49. So then you have to bump it up, you know, that they're both alive, because obviously she's not checking messages, right, at 8:49 if she's dead. And then at 8:49:31, her phone is locked. So from 8:49 to 9:04 is what I would say. That 15 minutes right there, he has to kill them, get in his car, and leave.
Well, okay. And
Yeah.
this is what I
Thank
will
you.
say this.
I got you.
15 minutes is plenty of time. First of all, it isn't like
Brian Koberger.
even though Maggie was going, Brian was doing it by hand. That's a whole different ball of worms. But he still, I suppose, could do it anyway. But the thing of it is, you have to. This is why it's difficult, and I wish that they would stop presenting the case the way that they are. Okay. Outside by the kennels, the defense has had people testify to this repeatedly. Paul left guns laying around. It's Paul's guns that are missing. That's number one. Number two, when you watch the video, not the Snapchat video, the video that was intended for Rogan.
I know, which I still call the Snapchat video. I'm going to be very honest with you. To me, it's still a Snapchat video, and I don't know why I do that, but I do it anyway.
Okay. That's
It's
fine.
just in my brain that way.
That's fine. No judgment. But that video, you can hear the hose. So as far as I think that the thought that he is just covered in blood like Carrie on prom night is absurd. I feel like, yeah, would he get some splash, some I don't know what the right word is, blowback, splashback, whatever? Yeah, he probably would, but he's by a friggin' hose. All he had to do was hose off, get in his car, and he's over at his mom's house for less time than he said he was. He said he was there for 30 to 40 minutes. Michelle says it was more like 15 to 20. So I just feel like what's confusing is because they're not, in my opinion, laying the case out like in a way where you can follow the evidence cohesively. Like they should have done all the forensicing and then worried about the stealing.
Yeah, they're not doing a very good job telling the story.
Now it's all messed up. It's all discombobulated. Everybody is everywhere, and it's annoying.
Okay, so I'll answer the question now since I wasn't really my answer yet.
I know that wasn't your answer. You were answering for Shmita. I got you. Now it's your turn. Go ahead.
It's my turn. Okay, yay.
Where is Brittany? Is she okay, Mallory?
Yeah, she's putting the boys to bed. She's one of the boys.
This is why she goes late. That's why. Okay, I get it. Right.
She'll be here.
I don't want worried about it. I just make sure she's okay.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
So I'm not convinced that he's innocent. So I think that I want to make sure that that's clear. I'm just not convinced that he's guilty. So and this is like kind of the analogy I was giving, was if you have 1,000-piece puzzle, right? Mm-hmm. And you sit down and you start to put the puzzle together and you pick up one piece, you can't see the whole picture from the piece, right? You don't know what you're putting together yet. You're just starting out. So with a circumstantial case, they literally have to put all these pieces together in a way that you can actually see what the picture is. And for me, they're putting the puzzle pieces together, but they aren't creating a picture. I don't see what the picture is. And that's where I go, I don't know if this guy's guilty or not. I think that if I had to say one piece of evidence that if I could only name one piece of evidence that makes me feel that way, it's ironically the non-Snapchat video that I call a Snapchat video. Because if you're listening to their interactions and you listen to Rogan's testimony, Rogan's talking about that he heard everybody in the background when they were talking, and everybody was fine. There was no arguing, there was no nothing, everybody's just doing their thing. Then you hear them talking in this video, and everybody's kind of just doing their thing. There's nobody's fighting, nobody's nothing. And so now they find out that Bubba has a bird in his mouth. And then you have, Blanca, who testifies today, who now has the dog and says that he's super stubborn and it would take a long time to get the bird out of his mouth. So now I'm thinking, okay, this video is happening. This is why I had to go do the timeline, because I'm like, I gotta have a timeline to line this out, because it's just not adding up to me. The video is done recording at 8:45. 8:45. So now they're wrestling the bird out of the dog's mouth, takes a minute or whatever, and they get settled. And all of a sudden, immediately, it switches to Alex is going to kill them. Where does that transition come in? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't line up for me.
Well, how do you know that they got Bubba the bird out of Bubba's mouth?
Okay, so that's what you're listening to, is them going, Bubba, that's what's happening, is them going after Bubba and trying to get Bubba.
But that doesn't mean they caught up to Bubba.
No, it doesn't. So now they don't catch up to Bubba, and they're just like, whatever, Bubba's got the chicken, let it go. And now all of a sudden, I'm going to turn my attention to, we know it doesn't happen right there because he's not killed in Cash's kennel. He has to go over to the feed room. So we know there's the minute or two after this, the whole thing that happens. We know that he sends the text to the girl that's talking about the movies and whatnot. That's at like 8:48. Right. So we know he's still alive then. So he's probably in the feed room then. So you're talking within minutes. They're all talking, chattering at 8:45. He's happy-go-lucky. Everybody's getting along. And nope, now I'm going to kill my whole family.
Well, okay. We talked about this, Teresa.
I know. It doesn't mean that I changed my mind.
No. I just think that to think, okay, for me, common sense says, if you're trying to lure somebody who's already apprehensive about being there in the first place, i.e. Maggie, it probably would be a good idea to not arouse extra suspicion and carry on with life like normal. And from all the testimony from people who know Alec, he's quite adept at compartmentalizing. You would never know anything is wrong with him, which is why his behavior in the courtroom is so preposterous to me, because he's quite adept at hiding his emotions and what he's really feeling. Also, I think we should do like a scientific experiment. I think we should try to recreate that video with people around us, because I'm curious how far away Alec actually was, because he's not on top of that mic. But I'm more curious, like how far away, how good an iPhone, whatever he had, whichever one he had, how good that mic is, because he sounded far away. He wasn't right on top of them. Right. And I think I need to know what was in that feed room. There is a reason that Paul went to the feed room. Perhaps there was something in there that he was going to grab to go get Bubba.
Right. And Bubba,
you know what I mean?
was in the kennel when police got there too. So at some point they did catch Bubba, and he was put back into the kennel.
And I'm curious. Bubba had a chicken.
Yep.
Now that song is going to be in my head too. The cow and chicken song. Mama had a chicken. Daddy had a cow, or whatever it was, or however that song goes. Anywho, see, this is why I can't do this. Anyhow, the thing is that Bubba had a chicken in his mouth, and Bubba had likely unalived the chicken, which also brings its own amount of blood and feathers. And I didn't hear any talk of that.
About chicken blood?
Chicken blood, or just feathers from him shaking or running away with the bird. Because he's a duck hunter. So the thing is, I don't know where he was in his training stages. Doesn't sound like very far along, to be quite honest with you. But when a hunter shoots down the duck, the lab goes and gets it and brings it back. And the reason they like labs to do it is because they've got the soft mouth. So they go and retrieve then they're excellent swimmers. They go retrieve the duck, but they and they're holding it in their mouth, but they never break the skin of the duck. Well, there she is. Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
I'm so sorry. I'm running behind.
It's all right. It's all right. So, but it doesn't sound like Bubba was that kind of a dog, bless his heart. And the fact, look, I'm just going to say this. I need to take a moment to say this. I was very worried for Bubba and where Bubba was residing at this point. And the fact that he is with Blanca was the highlight of my day today. And all of this.
I agree. Where's Grady, though?
I don't know. Let me just be half full, Teresa.
No, because I thought one of his friends said that they had one of the dogs. Does somebody remember that? Didn't one of his friends that testified, they asked him about the dog?
I thought so.
Maybe Rogan has him?
No, Rogan has Cash.
Yeah, Rogan has
the other
his
one.
dog.
Maybe the one
Was it Loving?
Yeah. Will Loving, isn't that his name?
I think he may be the one that said he has the other dog, but I can't remember that dog's name, so I wanted somebody to tell me that I was right or wrong.
No, you're right. I just can't remember which one
Poppy
it was.
says yes, the friend from Colombia. I do want to answer Truth Teller real quick. Basically, Truth Teller, they were arguing over hearsay. And the situation is you can't know if they're trying to elicit hearsay if you interrupt before the person gets to finish their question. The judge can't rule on whether the question is going to elicit testimony pertaining to hearsay if you cut him off in the middle of the question. That's what the argument was about today. And every time he would try to restate the question, the prosecution, objection, Your Honor. It was a mess.
I love it. I love it.
Is that not how we sounded?
It is. It's so, and the judge tells him, he's like, you cannot object when I haven't even heard the question. Like, let me hear the question. So then he goes to restate the question and he objects again, even after the judge said no. That's when I was like, Judge is pissed.
I like that because he was like, Judge, do you want me to ask it or not? I was like, yes.
What do you mean? No, that's not how it went. Adjusted fate. How did it go?
That's how I got it.
That's how I got it. Objection, Your Honor. And then you have Hootley on the other side. Your Honor.
I'm getting confused. He's like, I don't even know where I was. I don't remember.
Can I just say, coming from somebody from the South, I didn't even know that people in the South talk like that, have that accent anymore.
What are you talking about? You have that accent.
No, not they say you don't.
You have it. It's just not as deep, but you do.
You're okay.
You don't have the
That's
manly
a South
side.
Carolina accent. Theirs is a slow twine.
Yeah.
Gotta talk slow.
Yeah, the defense did try to sneak in the statement from Alex to Blanca, which I agree. I mean, I understood the objection. I just thought it was really funny that the judge was like, can you just like freaking wait a second and like let him talk?
Right. Because it was, listen, he was absolutely trying to get Blanca. He was trying to actually get Alex's testimony in through Blanca without having to put Alec on the stand, which is poppycock and not allowed. If Alec has something to say, if he wants to tell people what he did or didn't do or when he did it and how he did it and what he did with them damn ass shoes, then he needs to get on the stand and testify, not be trying to use Blanca. I think he's done enough of using Blanca. Rat bastard. Listen, I'm going to say like this. Do I think that Alex is guilty? Yes, I do think Alec is guilty. Do I think that there's a chance the jury may not find? Have they proven it yet? I'm about 52% there.
Yep.
I got a long way to go.
Me too.
Long way to go.
It actually scares me. I'm not even gonna lie. It's like when we were talking on panel yesterday about it, and I had asked y'all what physical evidence they had against him that wouldn't be considered, circumstantial. And there's really, what did you say? Like, there's really not much of anything, right?
I said it's all circumstantial.
Yeah.
But
That scared me.
Well, we have had lots of cases, babe, before the CSI effect where it is a circumstantial case. And the problem is in my opinion, they actually have a good case, and it's a strong circumstantial case. But it's the problem is that they're not laying it out in any kind of cohesive way that the jury can follow. That's the problem. And I don't have a problem with a circumstantial case. There's lots of cases that are circumstantial cases. But when you have a circumstantial case, you have to, in my opinion, for the jury, you've got to take extra care in the way that the case is presented so that you connect all the dots. And they have not thus far, in my opinion, and I have the advantage of being able to pause it, rewind it, all the things, right? And there's some dots that are not connected for me. And I think they can still connect them, but they got to cut out. Look, I think they've testified enough about the financial shit. He was a scoundrel, a scallywag, a low down rat bastard. He was a thief for sure. Okay, we get it. But you got to tie that. But when you bring up the financial stuff and then on cross-examine, your witnesses are saying, but they didn't, Maggie and Paul did not have life insurance. People cannot connect that the financial was a motive, because most people think of a literal benefit. They actually get money. And in this case, and this is why I was so annoyed with Tinsley, because he did tie it up right. And if he would have testified in front of the jury the same way that he testified in front of that judge, it would have been a lot more clear. He did it because he knew that it would be most likely that Tinsley would have dropped him as a defendant in the beach trial, because nobody wants to, because he had this horrific tragedy. And Tinsley admitted it himself. He had Parkers he could go after and other people, other defendants in that case. And he would have taken the settlement of the $500,000 from Alec and been done with it. He still was going after the Murdaugh Family Trust. He still was going after Buster for the loaning of the ID. He was still going after Parker's. He was going after everybody else. He would have just dropped Alec from the lawsuit, and that's it. And they need to not. It just drives me. I need to get off this soapbox.
I really like what Tia Dash just said, Jen.
What did she say, babe? Tell me in the highlighter. I'm terrible at chat. I'm awful, especially when I be getting on a rant.
She said circumstantial cases need to follow a timeline.
Yes.
This follows a blind drunk driver on a windy road. Yes.
Yes. We're just all, listen, I promise you, let me tell you what the jury remembers from today. Objection, Joanna. Krispy Kreme. And that's it. That's what they remember.
Blanca did a really good job.
Yeah.
Blanca did a really good job with those clothes. And but that again was overshadowed because they needed her to expound on that, and they needed her to be very, very clear. So on redirect, it would have been fantastic if he followed up with, after the murders and Mr. Murdaugh was at the little house, which is hilarious to me. A 2-bedroom, 2-bath on a fucking farm is a little house, whatever.
It's just a little house.
Just a little house. It's a house. Shut up, Alec. Anyway, she was still taking care of him. She was still doing his laundry. She was still looking after him. And so had they gone back and gotten that testimony out of her again on redirect, that would have tied everything together that she was trying to say. What she's trying to say is, I ain't seen those shirts since the day that he wore them on June the 7th. And I have been all over Hell's Half Acre and that man's all of his houses. I've been, I took care of him when he was here. I took care of him at the little house. I know his laundry. I'm the one that does it. And those shoes and that shirt and that pants is gone. And I don't know about this damn ass raincoat. Don't ask me about that shit no more neither. What?
Why is there 2 pairs of shoes missing? So the dude gets rid of his shirt, or 2 of his shirts, because both shirts are gone. So there's 2 shirts that are gone. Why did we get rid of 2 shirts? We did not get rid of the pants, and we get rid of 2 shoes.
What 2 shoes?
He gets rid of the canvas Sperry's, and he gets rid of the dress shoes, the brown leather ones he was wearing that morning.
See, I didn't take that from her. I got that he only got rid of basically the ensemble he was wearing in the actual Snapchat video.
2 shirts, 2 shoes. She's never seen him again.
What shoes was he wearing the night that he was in that police body car?
Tennis shoes.
Oh, okay.
Like running shoes.
That's interesting.
Well, we knew. Okay, so we knew that he changed, but the question is, when did he change?
Well, now he changed twice.
Right. Actually, technically, he changed 3 times. Because he had his outfit on for work. Mm-hmm. He had the Snapchat outfit on, and then he had the police outfit. That's how we're gonna know. That's how we're gonna name him. P.I. Petty P.I. Mango Jones, abso-fucking-lutely I would.
Yeah,
Does it,
mine
it does not have,
what you talking about? I got my own Google Drive. You want to share?
Hell yeah, send that over. My email here, I'll give it to you right now.
Can I say I love your name? Petty P.I. Mango Jones. That's adorable. Sorry.
No, I like the name. But can I ask you, here's my other big question, and this doesn't
no more questions from you, Teresa, for the rest of the night. You're done.
This is literally probably the next live I'm gonna do. Is like just like I did for Idaho 4. I'm just gonna have to sit down and write down all my questions in one spot because
I love it because it sends me down rabbit holes when she does this.
Yeah, find me some answers because I'm like, this is exactly, it drives me insane. But the very first few people who were at the scene continue to talk about the shoe prints and how the shoe prints looked like flip-flops, and then the one guy says it looks like somebody was pacing. But Maggie had on flip-flops. Mm-hmm. So why is Maggie out there pacing? And why is that relevant to this story?
Did you see the picture?
I have the picture.
Those footprints that I saw. Are you talking about the picture that we have, Mallory?
Yeah, the one where it just kind of shows that she kind of turned around a few times.
That does not look like. Let's put up the picture. Who's got it? Whoever's got it, I'll share the screen and I'll let you, please.
Okay, I'll throw it up.
Okay, Teresa, you can do it.
I'd like to know what kind of flip-flops you had on, because those shoe prints did not look like flip-flop print like shoes to me at all. I thought it was more like
Petty P.I. Mango Jones.
Okay, well here, I'll show you this first then.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the flip-flops.
All right.
Okay, never mind.
Petty P.I. sent it, by the way.
Okay, I can see that being the footprint now that I see the shoes.
Yeah, they're kind of like worn. Like
I was just going to say they're worn.
Okay.
Man, I wear my flippity flops all the time, and I still have. Oh no, they're pretty smooth. I guess they're not as bumpy as they used to be.
Mine always get really smooth.
I always get footprints in mine.
You get what?
Like a footprint. Like I guess because I wear like the rainbow ones and they're soft, but over time they'll get a print of my foot in them.
So here's the ones right here are the footprints that they were talking about. Now, if you remember, they testify that they walked alongside of them so that their shoe prints are also there, but they walked alongside of them. And then apparently at one point somebody ended up stepping on one, but they never said who it was. But yeah, you can see it here. Down, walking back this way. Like it is. It's like somebody's pacing. Or at least walking back and forth.
You know what I thought when I saw it? If Paul was first and she witnessed that, maybe what we're looking at is panic. You know, like not knowing what to do.
I think, okay, well, is that sand? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's like dirt. Here, I'll
Yeah.
show you the bigger picture. Hold on.
The reason I'm asking is because, let me say this. Now, I've never panicked in my chunkalas because flip-flops are not shoes that you want to be panicking in. It's just an accident waiting to happen. And y'all know I trip over air anyway. But Florida, my yard, although there's grass, under the grass is sand. And there's been a few times when I've had to haul ass out to that yard to get one Alice, the cat, who's acting a fool, and I've had to chase her. And when I am running, I feel like I'm Forrest Gump. I was running. My footprints are over top each other, and the sand kind of, you know what I'm saying? I don't leave like that kind of a print. That's walking for sure, not running, not trying to do anything fast.
I agree 100%. If she was running, they would not be that clear.
Well, and they're also coming back the other way, so.
Mm-hmm.
That's how so to me, it just doesn't. I will say this. This is just as a side note. It's always intrigued me that initially when the first responders arrived, the thing that what they actually thought potentially had occurred was a murder, self-harm.
Yeah.
But for the fact that they did not find a firearm, or the fact that they did not find a firearm. Oh,
sorry.
I'm trying to fix my God, I can't hear twice. Oh,
sorry.
It's terrible.
I tried to switch what screen I was sharing right in the middle of sharing it. That was a really bad idea.
Here, I'll remove it. There you go.
I experimented and it didn't work out.
How do y'all even listen to me? That is annoying. Oh my God, that's what I sound like.
Not annoying. You're ridiculous.
Nobody likes the way they sound, their own voice.
I don't listen to myself.
You were actually quite pleasant to listen to, Jen Lou.
Are you sure?
Yes.
All right. I feel like I'm not now. But it's interesting to me that is what they thought. That was their initial impressions, which obviously it would have been if they were right in their assessment or what they were seeing. I think they were thinking that Paul shot Maggie and then hurt himself. That's the only way it could be.
I was asking about why there's no reenactment of. Oh, thank you, Molson. Why there's no reenactment of the trajectory of the bullets? Because I'm telling you, the second shot to Paul, there's something off with it. There's something off with that shot, and I wish that there was. I hope the defense has somebody, because it just doesn't make sense the angle he would have been shot at, like how Paul would have been holding the rifle, in my opinion. And I am not a gun expert, so if somebody can tell me differently, please do.
Yeah, see, that's the wait, but then Paul wouldn't have had Maggie's. Did he have Maggie's blood on him?
Paul?
Well, I'm reading what C.B. Kell wrote.
What?
But maybe she's saying Paul would have had Maggie's blood on him.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Hi, Molson man. Good to see you.
Molson.
I miss you dearly, by the way.
Wait, CB Kel, did he have Maggie's blood on him?
That's gonna throw me for a loop if he had Maggie's blood on him.
I don't know that. So nobody's even talked about DNA in this whole thing yet. So we haven't even got there. And they said they're going to be resting by Wednesday. Or Wednesday.
Who said that? Did
the
they?
prosecution. They said they're done Wednesday afternoon.
I don't believe that. Where is
the defense attorney?
And where is cousin
right.
Eddie, for Pete's sake? Now we were promised cousin Eddie. Where is he?
Good question.
I noticed they asked about if the cell phone Mr. Guy, FBI guy, had cousin Eddie's data or whatever in his little file there.
Oh, and he does.
He sure does.
He sure did. And he was there. Have it with you today? He was like, I don't.
Okay. Molson said he's never read anything about blood. Maggie's blood being in Paul.
This is another problem. Where did the hair in Maggie's hand come from? I have questions. Who moved the ATV from the smokehouse to the house? We all have questions.
That's why I've been asking y'all, is it possible that he had help?
I have always thought that he did have help. But I can't quite I still feel very strongly that cousin Eddie helped, and that cousin Eddie was also involved. We all know it was. He was involved with the attempt on Alec, right? I always have suspected that Alec intended to set cousin Eddie up for all three, for Maggie's, and for Paul's.
So do you think he's going to testify?
He's on the list.
I know. Do you think they'll actually do it, though?
I think at this point, I mean, supposedly he's going to testify to a confession that Alec made to him.
Jen and Teresa. Wouldn't Maggie have been first because of the silent AR versus Paul, the target at close range with the 12 gauge? The AR is silent for pig hunting at night, but my husband says the 300 is quiet. Well, they said
also, thank you for thank you for the super chat, babe. I appreciate that.
I wasn't politically correct.
Crap. What wasn't politically correct?
I didn't. I wasn't. I didn't say thank you for the super chat.
Oh. Well, all right.
They said that Paul was killed first. And based on the phone stuff, I would tend to agree, because it looks like she's like walking away almost, from what I can tell. Is like she's walking away and then he gets shot and she like starts to run and then she gets shot she gets shot, and then because she shot 5 times, but the final 2 are execution style. And so I think he was first, because his phone information stops before her phone information stops by just like a minute and a half. If even.
Hey, maybe she was, okay, so I'm with you, Jen. You've kind of talked me out of the whole theory that she potentially was panicking.
Mm-hmm.
The whole footprints.
Okay.
But think about when you're arguing with somebody. Maybe her and Alec started arguing. I know when I get mad, I pace, or stomp, or I don't stand still. I could see that. I'm just trying to make sense out of why her footprints would be like that, so close.
Here's the thing. and I find this interesting because the defense continues to bring this up. They continue to bring up the fact that Paul just was willy-nilly with his firearms. Left him all over the place all the time. And I forgot where I was going with that because I got distracted by chat shit.
Or Poppy said it could have been him Alec arguing with Paul and Maggie witnessing it.
I mean, common sense tells me that if you're going to go into a situation where you're outnumbered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other, and not only are you outnumbered, but the other person is younger than you, more agile than you, and also knows how to work a firearm, the first person you take out is the biggest threat. So in that scenario, likely Paul would have been the bigger threat to Alec than Maggie. I mean, the truth of the matter is they both had their phones on their body, on their person. So shit, any of them could have called, he didn't know. That's why I think that there was some help.
Yeah.
But to what extent, I definitely for sure think that he had help getting rid of stuff. Or the timeline, and I think the timeline is the way the timeline is. It's so tight.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was intentional.
Yep.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think, is that the state's going to have a hard time proving with the timeline because it is so tight.
Well, I think that the defense is going to have a hard time trying to convince anybody that somebody else did it. I don't know. I think they're going to have to talk about all the things, like I think Mallory was saying, was like, that Bubba was put away, all these things, and like how much time all of that stuff would take, and that they were obviously still alive at this point doing all of these things, because Alex, we know, is gone based on the state's own witnesses that the SUV drove away.
Right.
So did all the things that were accomplished, from that point on, did they have time to do that? And if they did, then somebody else had to come to the property when Alex was gone.
In that perfect little snippet of time.
In that hour or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but we also don't know that they only went there because Alec was gone. They could have gone there to kill all of them.
Right.
All right. So LFT says 8:48:49 p.m. reads message. 8:49:30. Oh, hold on. 5 p.m. Incoming unread message. No more outgoing activity. That's 36 seconds, by the way, reading messages and incoming unread message. The thing is that there isn't anybody. This is the problem. Nobody else had motive, really, to unalive Maggie, for sure. I mean, even if it's not that, like, she, from what I've heard, she ain't winning no Miss Congeniality, prizes at the fair or pageant or whatever the hell you do when you get that. But she wasn't the nicest chick ever, right? But Alec, and it couldn't have been because he was stealing, because nobody knew he was stealing yet. He was only just being found out at the through the lawyers at the law office, and really what they found out first was that he was stealing from the law practice. That's what started it. So The only other person that people had an axe to grind with was Paul over the boat accident, which I think is why Paul was done the way that he was, because I think it was intended to make it look that way. That's what I think. I think that when Alec said, it's all about the boat, how nice fighting his voice. It's all about the boat case deal. I'm telling you right now.
I'm sorry,
like
but killing Paul doesn't stop any of the civil stuff. It just stops Paul's civil stuff and his criminal case.
Well, no, Teresa,
they're still going after Buster.
No, because Tinsley said that he was going to drop the case against Paul. Or against Alec. He had other defendants that he then switched from being Attila the Hun in the scenario to the little old granny. He'd had a tragic accident, he'd had a tragedy. His family was killed. His wife and his youngest son. He would have dropped him. He said he would have.
Okay, well, why wouldn't the tragedy of his dad dying be enough?
Because his dad's okay. Listen, and there's no other way for me to put this other than just to put it like this. The fact of the matter is that his dad was an older gentleman. Okay, people expect the elderly to pass away. You don't expect people in the prime of their life who are not sick, i.e. Maggie and Paul, especially Paul. He was much more young. And parents don't ever expect to bury their children. And that's facts. And that's where the sympathy comes in.
I don't buy it. I know everybody wants me to buy it. I don't. It just doesn't.
You don't have to buy it, babe.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me that he's going to buy himself time by killing his wife and son.
It wasn't about buying time. It was about. Okay. So, Alec, one of his strong suits in his practice was being able to read people and being able to elicit and give elicit emotions and give impassioned closing arguments during trial. Yeah, come on, you guys, give your girl a thumbs up. Don't make me put Kai back on. I'll do it. That was his strong suit. He is a personal injury attorney. And I think that a jury might just feel like at the end of the day, Paul is dead. And so is Mallory. Maybe they didn't want to, maybe he did say he was going to drop that lawsuit. He only on Alec, though. He would have still gone after Buster. He would have still gone after the Murdaugh Trust. He would have still gone after Parker's. He would have tried to settle with Paul and let him cobble together like $1 million and be done with it. And I think that nobody would know that better than Alec as a personal injury attorney. It wasn't about, I'm going to, annihilate my family because I'm going to put off them asking me questions at work for a couple weeks. Because really that's all it did. It was about the bigger picture. Mallory, you're awfully quiet, babe. And I know you got thoughts and I want to hear them.
Well, I had to let Dexter out, so I wasn't here for a second.
Oh, okay.
Because when he tells me he has to go out, I have to do it. Because I'm not cleaning up after that.
Make sure you give him all the plastic and everything, too. You don't want to send him out unprepared.
Well, yeah. But also he's been getting into our pantry and, choosing what he wants to eat. And so that's been fun, too.
Wait a minute.
What?
Who's Dexter?
Oh, my dog.
This girl is a true crime enthusiast when she named her dog Dexter.
Oh, I love it. What kind of dog is he?
He's a Havanese toy poodle.
Salty Hi, honey.
We're going to have a different conversation after this because I need to know how he's choosing his own food.
He shouldn't be. And it doesn't help us the next morning when we go downstairs and we see it again.
Oh, no.
But,
oh, he's getting into things.
Yeah, his new thing has been like opening the pantry door, not with like his hands, but like with his nose, and then choosing different foods in there. Yesterday he got into granola, and it was like, luckily it was like blueberry granola and not chocolate chip, so, but it's been fun.
It's like having a kid, ain't it?
Yeah.
I didn't know Salty C's dog is also named Dexter.
Ooh. So what are you asking me then now?
You've just been awfully quiet, and you just haven't had a whole. But I know you have a ton to say about this case because I know you're invested, and I want to hear all of it. In fact, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna be in chat.
No,
Yeah, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute too because I'm gonna put down a ultimate bacon right now.
And Shamita is here running things. Allegedly, you're here. Don't you be dropping off allegedly with Brittany J, ma'am. You and Mallory, you guys, and Shamita's gonna run the show. I just need to have a cigarette, and I can't. You heard me. You're fine, Shamita. They're gonna be talking. You're doing your little highlighting of the comments. It's for 5 fucking minutes. I'm just gonna have a cigarette. I'll be right back.
Okay, you're good.
Slack. Okay, all right.
We got this.
Sorta. Just don't listen. Don't replay it after you come back. I don't know. I mean, because I missed what you guys were talking about specifically when I was gone. But one other part from today that I found interesting was when his friend testified today. Did you guys bring that up? The one
No, the last guy, the last kid?
The one that's is a police officer now.
Yeah, no, we haven't talked about him yet.
Okay, because he was someone that when I was watching, I was like, why is he even here? Because, like, they'd already done all the gun stuff. They'd already proven that it was the certain ones and stuff like that. But then they brought in not only that he said that he could never catch Bubba, and when Bubba got something in his mouth, like, you couldn't, and that it was kind of more pointing towards it had to be like either Paul or Alec or Maggie that would end up having to get to Bubba during something like that. And then that also adding credibility to the timeline in that aspect of like it would have had to have been those 3 because even someone that lived on the property for a couple months, like, still that wasn't a stranger but was still not them, still had issues with it and still would have to chase him around and called it like a huge thing, which I found was interesting because then in his words, it was kind of like there's no, like, there's only a certain way that you'd be able to get Bubba back in everything. But then the second part about that was also the fact that he was running money for Alec, which I found interesting.
That's what I was wondering if that was the reason he was brought in, was to try to put that thought like in, and the defense ends up saying like, do you think that's what the prosecutor or the attorney general is suggesting? And then it gets objected to. But I'm wondering if it had actually to do with the money. Like, how weird this
is also having... bringing in the fact that didn't they say that there were certain sheriffs that were in there when he dropped these like freaking bags full of cash off? That it was like Alec with one of the police chiefs for another county or something sitting in there, and they were all like just hanging around and chilling when he'd just bring these bags of money in from the bank.
Yeah, like they were actually implementing law enforcement, and I think it was trying to show like the ties that the Murdaughs have to law enforcement.
Right. So that was something that I found very interesting today. Yeah, Bubba's the dog's name. But sheriffs and Chris Wilson. Yeah. So it was just one of those things where at first I was like, what was the point? But but then he actually brought stuff up, and then I think it tied in a little bit more. But
You know, I don't remember. Is Chris Wilson on the list? You sent the
I can check. I have it right here. Hang on. I have it right here somewhere. Here it is. Yep.
Wait, no, not Chris Wilson. Not Chris Wilson. That's not who I'm talking about.
Okay, well then give me the other name.
I confuse them all the time. I was thinking about Cody, or what is his name? Fleming. The other one. Chris Wilson's the one that already testified. That's his best friend that gives him the hug in the That's the one that gives him the hug in the video. He already testified. That's not who I'm talking about.
Okay.
I'm thinking about the other friend, the one that he tried to set up.
Chris Fleming.
Fleming guy.
Corey
Yeah.
Fleming.
The Fleming.
Hang on, let me see.
The C Fleming. That's what I remember. He's the one that he tried to get him to rep Corey Fleming, to rep the family in the boat case first. He's a fired banker. I thought Fleming is the attorney that he was a roommate with in high school or in college. Corey Fleming. The banker is there's another one that's a fired attorney.
I'm looking.
I wonder if he's testifying.
I don't see any Flemings. Lafitte?
No, those are the bankers.
No, I know, but I'm just reading it.
And they are testifying. Some are testifying on one side and some are testifying on the other.
Yeah, there's Norris Lafitte is
Didn't
either
Lee Koch already testify?
who?
Lee Koch?
I don't know if he already testified.
Does Buster use hair gel? JT.
I don't know. Now I'm thinking about if he uses hair gel or not. I don't know. Was he supposed to? Wait. Lee Cope. COPE. Yeah, he's number 49 on the state's witness or witness on both lists. Right. Maggie was having him audited. Not to ensure. Okay. Russell Lafitte may be compelled to testify. He's still in jail. He's on there. There's a bunch of different Lafittes. What are the other ones, T, that we were talking about that all were in the family? In a family? And they were all on here? Anyone?
His name is Cope, C-O-P-E.
Yeah, he's number 49 on the state's witness or witness on both lists. So either state and defense or just state.
Okay.
But I don't know if he's testified yet.
He has not.
Okay.
Maggie was having him audited, was she not? Shmeda, you are fired. Stop. Maggie was having him audited, was she not, to ensure she got her share? He could not let that happen. He would be exposed, losing power, reputation, ruined, labeled thief, stealing from partners and clients. Here's the thing about Maggie, okay? I don't know that they have yet, and it's on the prosecution to bring it up. They have yet to bring in anybody that says Maggie was seeking a divorce. And I got to tell you guys, I don't think that she was, for a couple of reasons. I know she was, we know for sure because Blanca said, right? And I found Blanca to be very, very credible, that she was very worried about this $30 million that Mr. Tinsley was going after. And they didn't have that money, that kind of money. Nor were they going to be able to get that kind of money. But anyway, I don't think that she was going to divorce him. She wouldn't get anything. Anything that she would have been able to get would have gone to Mallory Beach's family in the lawsuit. She would not have been able to get 50% of anything. And that's facts. Because the lawsuit came before the divorce. So she wouldn't be getting anything. And besides that, Tinsley had also threatened to add Maggie and Paul to the list of people he was suing. I don't think she was intending to divorce him. Do I think that they were, everything was, sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows? Oh, hell no. They were sleeping in two different places, not even two different places in the same house, two different houses. Mm-hmm. I think that, I think there were rifts in the marriage for sure, but I don't think that, but Poppy, if he would have hid money and they settled out of court, you still can't hide that kind of money because she would have gotten a payment, which would have been traced. I just don't think that she was divorcing him, to be quite honest with you. Not at that time. Do I think that moving forward, she likely might have? Yes. How would he transfer? The only way for him to transfer money to her without anybody knowing it would be for her to have a hidden bank account, assets, etc. And Tinsley was knocking on their door, pounding on their door. Well, I guess we'll find out then when they do the financial trial. It'll all come out.
For me, I think if she was actually contacting a divorce attorney and all of that was actually happening, like the mainstream media did put out there, and if somebody has physical proof of it, then let me know, because I haven't seen it yet. But why would they not have talked about that with any of the phone people? Here's when she contacted a divorce attorney. That's a great motive. There's no conversation about her ever contacting anybody. No phone person has ever talked about that she was getting a divorce. And this whole thing, like she was lured there. Well, she wasn't lured there. We've had now 3 people testify that the messages, all they say is that he wants me to come out there. His dad's sick and she's worried about him. So like, where did that whole narrative come that she was lured there? It doesn't make any sense.
If Alex is found not guilty, he's not out of the woods because he's still got another trial for all the financial stuff. He's got like 99 charges.
Yeah, that's over 100 years if he's convicted on all that. Yeah.
And he's not a young man to begin with. So
no, he's not done.
He's not done. But I don't. Do I think that this is my thing. I just don't think that Maggie was going to divorce him because, quite frankly, as Teresa pointed out, there's no proof of that. They pulled all of their phone records. They know every single person that they talked to. There was no landline out at Moselle. I don't know about at Edisto Beach, at the beach house. But at the end of the day, if she were seeking a divorce and she had either contacted a lawyer or contacted a financial auditor or forensic auditor, there would be evidence of that. You can't just contact people in this day and age and nobody knows about it. I mean,
right. So where did it originate from? Obviously somebody thought that. So maybe it was just
there was a local news station that reported it. I don't know where they got it from. I believe they got it from, well, I said that and then I answered my own question. I believe they said that their source was someone close to the family or something like that, but it came out like right within like the beginning of this case. I have it. I can send it to you, T. Like the original web, like the actual
cool.
link to the website. But that I think it was circulated within the media. But then you also have to take that with a grain of salt too, because anything circulated within the media is not proven 100%. But I think that's kind of where it started. Is supposedly there was someone close to the family that had stated that.
Okay, so this brings me back to the whole witness list, because like you were saying, the list is split between defense only, which means they're only testifying on one side. They were only subpoenaed or offered to testify on one side. And then there's the one that's on the prosecution list, which they could be testifying for both, right?
Yes.
But defense only list lists her mom, her dad, and her sister. They are not testifying on the prosecution side at all. Her whole flippin' family
Right.
is on his side.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So
her mom, her dad,
Yeah.
her sister are defense witnesses only.
So defense only is Buster, John Marvin, and Liz Murdaugh, Kennedy Branstetter, Terry Branstetter, Marion Branstetter, and then a bunch of Lafitte's, McGill, Dingle, and then a lot of different computer forensics, crime scene analysts, pathologists, the head and neck surgeon, psychologist.
Oh my God! Is the neck surgeon going to come in to say that Alec had some kind of? I know they testified about a football, or he got Chris Wilson to testify about a football injury, a knee injury he suffered playing ball in college. So, what is the neck injury person going to say? Also, this is how he got hooked on pills.
Well, no, it actually could come down to the way that the gunshots were. The person would have had to have been most likely like on the ground or closer to the ground. If he has a knee injury and wouldn't be able to do that, that'd be an interesting witness.
I mean,
I don't know that's what's going to happen. I'm not saying that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that. I'm just thinking about it long. I'm trying to play all of it out. And I've watched him every single day be brought into court, which you can't really tell how well somebody walks when they're shackled. I mean, that is going to give a hobbling effect anyways. But I've seen him in tons of other footage through the various, documentaries and stuff, and he doesn't appear to have anything that's causing him like to have a weird walk or anything. He doesn't look or appear like he's has trouble with his knee. I don't know. I have a bad back, but let me just say this. If I'm properly motivated, that bad back goes right out the window. There's things I can still do. I might be hurting about it later, but if it's necessary, I'll do it. Like scrubbing the bathtub out kills my back, but it has to be done. I still do it.
What would the head and neck surgeon though do with his knee?
Nothing. So what? I
was just talking about like if they come out and prove something like that, like he can't turn. I was just saying.
I was like, I don't think they work on that part of the body, but okay.
Well, there are other doctors on there. But no, I'm just saying it would be interesting if they did come out with something like that with a reenactment that, okay, here, so there's a picture of the feed room. And in the feed room, there's a mannequin.
Oh, what? A mannequin? Is that what you said?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But supposedly the prosecution didn't do a reenactment. Right? That's what I don't know. I can't find anything that they did, and they haven't had.
No, they have. The only thing that they reenacted was the trying to turn Paul over. That's all they did. They had. They were trying to show that it would be impossible for him to have done what he said he did and not have some kind of blood on him.
But he did have blood on him.
He had what?
On his shirt.
Not that anybody could see.
Not
That
visible.
nothing that was.
No, but that pops up in forensics that there was blood.
Yeah.
Now, do I think that he had the amount of blood that he should have had? No, I totally agree with you, but there was blood.
Right, but we don't know when that blood got there.
No, and I don't know if there was something about.
And what was it? What was used to test for blood? Was it the phenolphthalein stuff or whatever it's called?
It's the one that turns it purpley blue.
Yeah, that one. That reacts to all kinds of stuff, not just blood.
I'm so confused because if he would go to lengths to change his clothes to potentially to not have anything on him, how would he get blood on him even after that? I mean, because I don't think he touched the bodies when he called 911. It sounded like he was in his truck the whole time.
He connects to his truck. I mean, because the Bluetooth picks it up. So that's an interesting thing, because if you look at the timeline, the vehicle goes into park at 10:05:55. This is what puts me, if you ask me for one piece of evidence that I think is actually really pushing that he's guilty, it's probably this one. At 10:05:55, the vehicle goes into park.
Mm-hmm.
At 10:06:14 is when the 911 call is made that doesn't go through.
Oh my!
At 10:06:18 is when the 911 call goes through. So how does he go over to them and check them both for a pulse, pick up Paul's phone, put Paul's phone back down, and do all of those things in, what is that, 19 seconds?
Yeah. Oh, you make a great point.
That's an excellent. This is my question to you also too, Teresa, because I'm confused about this. So obviously there's the 911 call, but that 911 call has been played on, I know for a fact I listened to it on Low Country, and it sounds like he hangs up on 911 and they call him back in the middle of their conversation. Like he says something about wanting to call his family, and then you hear like it sounds like a phone ringing. Like they're calling him back. Like if you were to record a phone call.
You're right.
Yeah. So when did that happen? Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy.
That might be the 10:07 call. Hold on. I'm going to double check.
I just needed to make sure I wasn't crazy. This
I remember that.
Made me crazy. I mean, after not just this case, my kids made me crazy. This is just the cherry on top of the crazy. Okay, my kids have broken me.
I'm with you, dude.
I don't have that on my timeline, and I'm looking at other timelines that like Mallory sent me and that I found online, and I don't see it there either. But I do recall exactly what you're saying.
Yes, and here's the other thing.
But if you look at like mainstream media stuff, they say the call is at 10:07. So that's also interesting because according to the experts, the time was at 10:06:18.
Okay, I think this is what we need to do. All of us on this panel are pretty intelligent ladies. I think what we should do is break this case up and take parts of it. I think it would be incredibly overwhelming and frustrating for one person to do a complete timeline of this night all by themselves, because there's some conflicting stories and yada, yada, yada. What if we break up the timeline and each of us takes a part and then we put it together and present it?
I would love that so much. That would help. That would be a great deal of help to me. I have a newfound respect for all of you people in true crime because I never realized
people in true crime. Are you not in true crime?
Well,
are you in a different genre all of a sudden? What happened?
Well, what I mean is like the creators. Y'all have been creators for a lot longer than me. And I didn't realize how hard it is to do multiple cases at one time. That is extremely difficult, and I have so much respect for people that can do that.
Okay, so I know why I don't have it now, and I don't
Okay.
know, somebody in chat reminded me, and I don't know who it was. The phone call is because the phone ringing is because he called, and it goes to the other city, and they reroute him to
Okay.
right.
Okay.
That's the phone ringing. That's I was like, wait a
Okay.
minute, I remember the phone ringing too, but that's why, and it's not on the
Okay.
timeline because he was still on the phone.
Got it. Okay.
And I have a pretty big timeline of just that night. I don't have a lot of the other stuff is what I don't have.
What do you not have?
Like the other like days and stuff leading up to financial things like that. I didn't make like a big one. I just wanted it of those few hours so I could see times. So that's all I have on mine is that night.
Okay. See, that's what I'm thinking, C-Star, because this is what doesn't this is why I don't understand why the defense continues to bring up that Paul left guns out there at the hangar and at the kennel and in his vehicle. Because, first of all, I think what they're trying to imply is that anybody could have, he left them, or he was careless with his firearms. And so anybody could have just snagged one and done the crime, right? But the fact is, first of all, this isn't like in a neighborhood, number one. This is out in, by itself. And number two, you'd have to know that about a person. I wouldn't look at Paul and automatically assume he was careless with firearms. You know what I mean? So that doesn't make any sense. But what it leads me to, but it's making me think, what if he did leave him around and there was an argument? I mean, you have to understand what was coming up on the 10th. And
Yeah.
I don't give a rat's fat kneecap how much his attorneys try to downplay it and pretend that it wasn't a big deal. But the last conversation he had with Jeannie that day on the 7th was about his 401k. It was about getting his financial paperwork in order. He had to at least suspect that it was a 50-50 shot either way. Either the judge was going to grant the motion to compel completely everything that they asked for, or in some capacity. Either way, whether it was all or partial, Alec knew that his goose was cooked.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's very, very likely that it
wasn't cooked yet.
Huh?
It wasn't cooked yet.
What do you mean it wasn't cooked?
Because the hearing on the 10th was just for the motion to compel. The judge hadn't issued that it was compelled. So he didn't have to deliver any financials on the 10th.
So then why was he asking Jeannie about his 401k if he didn't think
because he was going to still have to get it all together for his attorney, and that's what he was working on.
Right.
And they did figure, if you remember when Tinsley was first testifying and he pulled out his thing from his pocket and he's like, he did approve it. And then there was like the banter on whether it was really approved or not.
Right.
But it wasn't necessary. The motion to compel wasn't actually like
that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not. Okay. What I'm saying is that he had some idea that there was at least the possibility that the motion to compel was. We know that it was set to hear on the 10th, right? So it was either going to be granted all the way and they were going to get everything that they asked for. He was going to turn over everything that they were asking for, or it was going to be partially granted. That doesn't mean it was going to be, that day wasn't the day that everything was going to blow up. But at some point, and probably pretty quick, it was. And if Maggie is talking about Blanca, and I don't know how the Murdaugh Trust was set up and who all is part of it, and what all that implies, and what all they would have, whoever is part of the trust, whatever they would have to turn over, including Maggie. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that his goose was going to be cooked that day on the 10th, but it was going to be the start of the cooking. The oven would have been preheated on the 10th. That's what I'm trying to say.
Tia Dash says that her and LFT have a minute by minute timeline, and yes, I would love to see that. I would absolutely love to see that because I know how your research and it's good.
Mhm.
Oh, they're very detail oriented.
Yeah. And I used to think I was detail oriented.
No, I mean, I am for certain things. Cases, yes. This case, I have to say, I've only been on this, looking into this case for 3 weeks. I started the Sunday before the trial started. It's not very long, given the magnitude of the fuckery that's going on in this case. This is.
So were you not interested in it at first either?
No, I had followed it, but not like I didn't go down all the different rabbit holes. I watched from afar. You know how I am, you guys. I usually like to, it's very difficult for me to talk about cases that are open.
Yes.
Because there's
I
only
don't know.
so
All
much
I'm going to say, Jen,
speculating.
is that the last few cases that
I
are
can
open,
do.
I've gotten you wrapped up, and you've gotten Quentin, you've
Which
gotten Idaho 4, and now we're in Murdaugh.
Yeah.
Which is part of, we're going to have a meeting later, Teresa, about this and the status of our relationship.
I know.
Because I'm getting real tired of you getting me down these damn ass rabbit holes, man.
I gotta say though, I have a high level of respect for you for your reasons why you don't, but I love when you do.
Thank
Mhm.
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think what's hard for me with this case is I think that all the parts for a good, compelling case are there against Alec, but I think that I don't know what it's like. They're reading instructions from IKEA for one piece of furniture, but they bought a different piece of furniture. Do you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
it's not coming together, and it's all over the place. And to be quite frank, and I told Brittany this the other night, the way that they're presenting this case is the way that my brain is. The way that, like, I'm the only one that knows what's going on in my brain, but it's a fucking mess. You know, but when I come and talk to you guys, I'm like, okay, let me get my shit together. And I am getting, you know, and so I don't be putting all my business out on Front Street like that.
It's done.
Okay.
Aw.
Sorry.
It's like, it's done. We're done. This is done.
We're done. That's it.
We're over it. We're done.
He wanted some eggs, and I'm trying to tell him they're not done yet, and he's like, "It's done. It's done."
He knows, Britt. He knows when it's done.
Yeah, he knows.
And
I want a crispy
This is
egg.
definitely done.
I don't even like eggs, so I don't even know how to cook them.
I'm right there with you, Jen. I don't either.
You don't
I don't like
eggs?
the way no, I don't like eggs in any form or fashion. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. Mm-mm.
That's so weird. My oldest doesn't like eggs either. I mean, he'll eat eggs like that when you make like a cake and it has eggs in it.
Well, obviously. I'm not ridiculous.
Yeah. He does not eat eggs. Like scrambled eggs, fried eggs.
I don't abstain from cake because of eggs.
Yeah, I don't know. He's weird too. Why are my kids like you, Jen Lou? I got one that separates her Skittles like you.
Because we were destined to be friends. Because
Apparently.
clearly I was destined to be explained to you how your kids' minds work with the Skittles and the eggs, and you were destined to drag me down rabbit holes, even though I got a bad back, and this was a little bit of a colder winter in the Floridas, and I have a little nuts squirreled away, and that I got to lose. I'm having a little trouble, in these rabbit holes, and I turned a whole year older.
Oh, you did. You did turn a whole year older.
It's a lot.
It is
and
a lot.
I'm a Grammy 2 times now.
I know. Man, what the heck is happening?
Okay, Shamita.
It's a cold winter in Florida.
Shamita lives in Penguin Land. Yeah, but she lives in Penguin Land. So it's not my fault, Shamita, that you decided to live next door to the penguins and the polar bears.
So does anybody actually think that he is innocent? Does anybody actually believe he's innocent, that he did not do it? Or because I see a lot of people say like they're not convinced that he will be found guilty or that he is guilty, but is anybody like adamant that he is innocent?
Not innocent in the deaths. I would still question whether or not he could have hired someone or something like that. Yeah. But no, I think he 100% had everything to do with it and was the reason, if he didn't necessarily like do it himself. But I, at this point, think he did it himself. But if that were to come up, it wouldn't surprise me.
I agree.
I agree. I think that the way the prosecution is going, it's going to be difficult to convict him.
Mm-hmm.
See, Designing My Life understands my Florida weather pain, Shamita. When you move to
we've had a really cold winter in California as well.
What's really cold to you guys, though?
Rick, it doesn't matter what's really cold to us. We
it's
live
really cold.
in a place that it's in the fucking brochure. Hello, Florida is the sunshine state.
I've worn a sweatshirt like every day for 2 months is a pretty good indication that it's cold.
The fact
I wore
that
shorts yesterday.
Yeah, but I've already heard that about you, Mallory, that you be out there in a bikini and it's 27 degrees outside.
I'm gonna get a snow tan.
Okay, I don't say that. And technically, I will wear a sweatshirt with my shorts when it's 27 degrees. But no, I wait till it's about a crisp 60, 65 before I start tanning.
See, 60, 65 is cold for Florida.
That's cold.
That's not cold. That's
cold.
hot.
I have to wear a sweatshirt.
You know,
and I can't put on my flip-flops. I have to actually put on tennis shoes because my feet regulate my entire body's warmth and cold.
I've had to wear socks. Yes, socks.
Yeah, I was in my slides and shorts yesterday, and I think it was like 37. So.
Oh no, Diane! How's it? Oh no. Her fridge went out. Well, I'm glad you're here anyway.
Did you get it taken care of? What a flippin' mess.
Yeah, I moved to the Sunshine State. I moved where it says specifically in big, bold, easy to read letters because as Mr. DeSantis says, it's God's waiting room. He calls it that, not me. That this is the Sunshine State and we're to have warm weather. I was promised that in the brochure.
Yeah, C-Star says 60 in Arizona, the heat comes on. That's how it is here too.
Yeah, that's how it is here.
Yeah, it's cold. We got so much. We've had so many fires like for our fireplace this year that like we probably spent so much money on firewood. It's ridiculous because I'm freezing constantly.
So 60 is 15 degrees. That's like a beautiful spring day for us.
Again, you live with the polar bears. Like you're in
and you feel like you're going to die in the morning when it's like 40.
60 is cold for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I lived where you live, Shamita. The minute that I stepped out into that polar vortex that you call home,
like the other day, it felt like minus 40 Celsius.
It's just stupid.
That's ridiculous. That's just there's no need for that. It's unnecessary.
It was so cold. It was so cold.
Why do people purposely live like that?
What? Yes, I've invited Shamita to the
this
Florida.
Should be like child abuse and elder abuse.
Yeah, like the kids didn't go outside at recess. Like nothing. It was so cold. Now
I Brooke makes a good point. I don't understand. I am a little bit shocked that Blanca was allowed in to clean, but again, despite what the Harpootlian, what I call the Poot and the Harpoo, and Mr. Griffin would have you believe. I believe Alec did get preferential treatment, quite frankly, and I think that's proof of it because I can tell you guys right now that I've never heard of. in an investigation. If they rolled up on the scene and saw what they saw and it were anybody else, everything would be shut down. Nobody would be a coming and a going. And this another thing. How did they miss her wedding ring in her car? And all Blanca had to do was move the seat back. You heard her. She didn't have to do anything special. There was no secret knock or combo or none of that. She just pushed the seat back. It's crazy.
I don't get that. That makes no sense to me. The only thing is, it was a week after. I couldn't understand because it was a week after it was released from the impound, or it was a week and it was released from a week after the murders and was released from the impound. Did you get a distinction on that? Because I was kind of confused.
To me, it sounded like they had the car impounded for a week.
Okay.
And then Randy, who handles all the things except for checking on his mom and dad, apparently, according to Maggie through Blanca.
That's awesome.
He handles everything. If there's an accident that is not Stephen Smith, who's right there, Randy. Who's coordinating all the things? Randy. Who does his mom call when she's freaking out because her husband's in the hospital? Not Randy. Alec. It's weird. Anyway, but that's not the point. Anyway, he's coordinating all this. They're going out of town and blah, blah, blah. And so could she pick up the car? And it's weird that, not weird, I guess. Weird's not the right word, but interesting. That, and this is not a remark on Blanca or her husband. It's really a remark on law enforcement, that they were allowed to stay in that house.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it weird that her husband was okay with staying there?
I wouldn't have been.
I thought that was odd. I don't know. I didn't really like that. I also didn't like that Maggie literally tells Blanca, like, I have to trust the Mexicans. Not just the workers. Like, I have to trust the Mexicans to lock up my house.
Yeah, that was...
I was like, damn.
The first time I heard it, today was not the first day. It was a few days ago when they said it.
But saying it to her, I didn't realize it was said to her.
I didn't either. Which, I mean... I don't know. I've said it before. I might as well say it again. You know, I am Mexican. Everybody knows this, but I have had people who, it's not like I go around announcing all the time when I meet people or anything like that. I just am Mexican. I don't announce it all the time. You know, I don't think it's something I should have to do.
I don't go around saying, hey, I'm white either. I'm
right.
Caucasian.
Exactly. Like I just, like I didn't meet Teresa
here.
and be like, hey, Teresa, by the way, I'm Mexican. You know, it just
who
wasn't.
even thinks like that?
It doesn't come up. But I will say this. I have had people that I have been friends with and friendly with who have said things to me like, I need to do something at the house. I'm going to call a Mexican. And I'll look at them and it'll piss me off because it's like, condescending as fuck. Yeah, like what does that even mean?
Rude.
Well, it's rude I don't like that.
Rude. It's offensive.
Yeah, it is. Wow. And see, that really does go to show you, because I had no idea you were Mexican. That's news to me.
Well, I mean, I don't.
You didn't walk into your room and say, hey, by the way, I'm Mexican?
Right. I don't I don't announce it. But yeah.
I'm not even going to lie. Like, if I had a friend who was like, hey, Brittany, how are you? By the way, I'm white. Or I'm whatever. I would side-eye the hell out of you.
Yeah. Don't walk into me. I don't walk in.
Yeah, I see where your mind's at. That's not going to work.
It was very interesting to me.
It's very. And I mean, I'm not going to, regardless of that fact, nobody deserves, the worst thing I would do is just give a side-eye and be like, what the fuck? I'd probably say something, right? But I would not do to Paul and Maggie what was done to them. Like that definitely does not, they don't deserve that.
But you know what? Though? Like, I have to be honest with you. For the most part, the South has progressed.
I'm
But
in the South and I'm still offended by it, Tammy.
Well, I was going to say there are pockets, I know at least I can speak for Georgia and in North Carolina where there still are very racist people around here. And I mean, I'm not just going to say, come on, that was a racist statement.
It's not,
but
it's okay. I would not go so far as to say it's racist.
I don't think it was racist. I just thought it was
stereotypical.
It's insensitive is what it is. It's insensitive. Rather than refer to them as people, or the construction workers or the guys at the house or whatever, they're referred to by their race. And it's insensitive. I mean, it's not like the worst crime in the world. It's not even, it's just, if I say, and I'm not speaking for every Mexican either, just this one. To me, I felt that it was insensitive.
Yes.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and it's like I told you last night, I think. And I'm with y'all. What happened to them was that should never happen to anybody. They didn't deserve it. But that phone call, that 911 phone call, over Gloria, the housekeeper, that bothered me. I don't hear people that genuinely care for a woman that's in trouble, that needs medical attention. And I mean, that's just my opinion. Maybe other people see it differently, but I question if that family if they showed love or compassion to one another.
Look, what I'm saying is, and this is, I'm gonna, then I don't want to talk about it anymore. What I'm saying is, for me, I'm only speaking for this Mexican. I'm not Cesar Chavez up here trying to speak for all the Mexicans, just this Mexican. Blanca doesn't have to be offended. That's fine. I just thought it was, I didn't like it. It was insensitive. I just didn't like it. It was rude. That's it. Nobody else has to feel the same way as me. That's it.
So can we go back to where the heck these two shirts and these two shoes are, or even if you think it's one shirt and one pair of shoes, why this guy would
2 shirts and 1 shoe?
Why does he leave behind his pants but take everything else?
Well, this is the question. This is the thing, though. This is what we have to understand. This is part of the problem. How many outfit changes were there? So he had a work outfit. Then he had a riding around with Paul in the truck outfit, and then the Popo outfit, the final outfit of the day, right? So,
well, no, because he still has to take off those clothes and put on other clothes. And somebody, when I was talking, was telling me, and I have not dug in to see if that's true. I thought they got in the car and did the interview pretty quickly after everybody was there. But somebody else tried to tell me they actually were doing this interview after they'd already taken his clothes. I don't know if that's true, though. So he does change his clothes again because they take his clothes and he has to put on new clothes.
Right, but don't conflate, don't confuse the issue. That's a forced change.
I know.
All the other changes were right, but all the other changers were okay. So I can see you get home from work and you want to change your outfit, right? You don't want to wear you want to get into your casual kicking it clothes, which evidently is some type of khakis, a shirt, and canvas Sperry type shoes. And then I'm assuming then he went and changed at some point. See, I think the idea is that the outfit that he was wearing is this like a freaking pageant, this fool with his outfit changes. Now we're going to get to the shorts and t-shirt portion of the show. Okay, so I think they think that it's the outfit that he was wearing in the Snapchat video with Paul in the truck and the trees. Those are the clothes that he was wearing at the unaliving portion of the day. And then he changed into the cargo shorts and t-shirt and tennis shoes. And then when the popo said, we need to collect your clothes, he took that outfit off and then put on a different set of clothes. I think the trial is not the talent portion. It's the question and answer portion. You know, they always have a question and answer portion of the pageant. That's what this trial is. I mean,
what is factually known about the outfits changes in times? Well, today was the first time we ever heard that there was a third outfit. We were all thinking, or I shouldn't say all, I should speak for myself. And I was thinking that the outfit he had on in the Snapchat video was the outfit he wore to work. And he comes home and then they go out and hang out. He comes home and I know it's tough because like for me, like I grew up in a house where people did come home from work and change their clothes before they had dinner. So for me, it would not be abnormal that he would have gone and put on more comfortable clothes to go have dinner.
Right. My mom did too. She wore scrubs. So she would come home from work and put on take her scrubs off because she'd been around, working in histology and stuff around all that stuff. So she would change her clothes and put on regular clothes and then PJs. But
see, and my mom was a manager, so she was always in pantsuits or some type of dress. So she always came home and put on comfortable clothes before she had dinner. My dad was a cop, so he would come home and change his uniform.
I'm trying to remember, like my dad, we hardly ever got to eat dinner with my dad because he worked incredibly late. He worked as a finance manager at a dealership, so he worked late hours. And I'm trying to remember, but I feel like when we were younger, I do think he wore like a dress shirt and slacks. And I do think that he came home and put on jeans and a t-shirt. That is that's not, and my husband changes clothes. I'm not shocked about the business attire to casual attire. That's not a shocking thing. But then it's the change from it's the third change, the third outfit of the day. That's like, what? Yeah.
Are we alone here?
I guess so. Everybody's muted. Shamita just every once in a while is randomly typing in chat and hiding and highlighting comments, but she ain't talking.
I'm not muted. I'm thinking.
I'm here. Sorry, I was actually messaging Mallory about this. I do want to ask you a question, Teresa. What do you think the chances of them finding him guilty are?
Right now?
Yeah.
I'm very 50-50. I do not think the prosecution's done a good job. And I'm very anxiously waiting for the defense's witnesses, because I think that if the prosecution doesn't hit it out of the park in the next few days, and tie everything together and make a point, because they don't ever make a flipping point. And the defense brings in some witnesses that are going to speak to his character and how much he loved his family. There's not one witness that has gone up there and said that they've heard any issues, they've known of any fighting. They've all talked about how close they were with the family, how much time they've spent with them. Nobody's ever heard fighting. Nobody ever witnessed them fighting. Nothing. Even Blanca, the biggest thing she had was over the white paint. And all it was Alex saying he didn't care what color she chose. I think they're going to have a hard time proving that he would do this to his family that he supposedly loves so much. So I'm 50-50 right now. And I think that I'm probably going to end up closer to more like 30 that they're going to convict him.
K-Braze brings up a very good point here. Why did he go check on his mom? She was asleep. She didn't call him to go over there.
Didn't they say it was because they just found out about his dad?
Because he knew about his dad earlier that afternoon. Because remember, that's what that call is what got Jeannie, the real MVP, to back up, change the tone of the conversation changed, and they went from having a work conversation to having more of a friendly conversation.
Do you think he went there to hide something?
That's kind of the whole tarp raincoat situation.
I think that at first I couldn't understand why they kept asking the witnesses that know Alec about his phone usage. Sorry, you guys. Sorry. Whew. I couldn't understand why they kept asking the witnesses, like, did you know Alec to be a prolific phone user or whatever? But I think it's I started to think about it. This is one of the things I thought about today, Teresa, in the shower, but it wasn't what I was supposed to be thinking about. So I just didn't tell you about it because it wasn't.
And then she's, I'm going to go take a shower and contemplate all the things we just discussed. Well, okay, let me know what you come up with.
And I didn't come up with anything.
Like, okay, so what do you think about this? She's like, I don't know. I took a nap. Mike fell shut.
Well, because I thought about other things and not the official thinking I was supposed to be thinking about. But I was thinking about why they continue to ask that. And I realized, because I think what the defense is trying to steer people away from is the several people that he called on his trip to and from his mom's. Like, he called the other guy that worked out there at the farm, and it apparently was an urgent call. I mean, he had pressing matters to discuss with this guy. I cannot remember his name. This is the guy that was hired by the Navy SEALs, whatever, because they saw him in a fight, whatever, blah. Anywho, that guy that I can't remember his name. Anyway, but he had very pressing matters with the sunflowers that needed to be discussed, right? So the guy misses his call, and then the guy calls him back, not even with that like much longer, right? And but he doesn't actually take the call. He's like, I'm talking to somebody else, I'll call you back. He called Chris Wilson too. He called so many people to talk to that night. But then, and like Listen to Learn is pointing out, there's like, oh, that's one time for Brittany. She did good.
Did you hear me?
There she goes. Yep, there she goes. She only did it one time. I'm really proud of you, Brittany.
Good job, Britt.
You.
She did put a bet out before you got here, Britt, of how many times you would
didn't
drop
put
and
a
come
bet.
back.
You gotta do 5 more times or I'm gonna lose $5. So
Shamita. So I think that it was it's interesting that he's not using the phone for a long period of time, and then all of a sudden he's calling everybody he knows. Because he called Chris Wilson.
He was asleep.
Was he though? We don't
No,
know
probably
that.
not. But my point is that he's not going to be using his phone if he's asleep. But
Well, right.
everybody who knows him says he's on his phone all the time.
Right.
So it makes sense that he's calling people and he's driving.
Sometimes even double fisting phones.
Right, but if you call somebody, right, and you listen, I call people all the time. That's not true. But when I used to, I hardly call anybody anymore. But when I did used to call people, if they answer, I don't leave a voice message. The missed call, that's your call me back and find out what the fuck I want. You know what I mean?
I'm the same. Me too.
I'm not leaving a voice message. That is the message. You missed my call.
I love how you said that's not true without even a second thought.
Yeah, it's not true. I don't
Like, I
call
just lied.
people
I
like I
literally
used
just
to
lied
anymore,
right now,
but
and
I
I'm gonna
did
have to
used
fix
to
that.
be on the phone a lot, and I don't do it anymore. So then I think, so I'm thinking to myself, this fool took time to call this person and leave a voice message. And yet when the person calls them back, he's too busy all of a sudden. No, I can't take his call. You know, like he was adamant about getting hold of Chris Wilson that night, and he did, but Chris was in the middle of working on a pool pump. And he said, I'm working on it, I'll call you back. So then Chris calls him back and he doesn't answer. And then later on that evening,
But Chris calls him right back again.
Multiple times.
You're right.
But he didn't answer. Which
No,
is
they do
weird.
connect again.
Later. He called him and he said, I'll call you back. I got my hands in the thing, right? Then he blows up his phone a couple more times. And then I think the next time he gets a hold of him, he's like, I'm almost at my mom's. What the fuck you call for then? You're not at your mom's. You obviously had something you wanted to ask. So why don't you just ask? See, I'd be annoyed at that. Just letting you know that even if you weren't a thieving rat bastard, Alec, because that for sure is what you are. I can't say right now if you're an unaliver for sure, but you definitely are a thief, and I don't fucks with the thieves. But
Without a doubt.
Even
They've done
if
a
you
really
weren't,
good job proving that he is a thief.
yes, even if you were not a thief, okay, you don't have the type of personality. You would not be my friend. You're very inconsiderate, and friendship is a two-way street.
Well said.
I think he was calling those people for exactly what K-Bird is saying. He knew they were going to pull his phone records. And P.S., he deleted shit off his phone too.
Mm-hmm.
Who does that?
Well, that was what I was wondering about going to his mom's.
There was no reason for him to be going. I don't think there was any reason, Brittany, for him to be going to Mama's that night. I think it was an absolute alibi.
Yeah.
He needed to be seen somewhere.
There you go. But it's so gross that he would use his mom like that too. You know, regardless if he's guilty of the crime or not. His mom, she's got Alzheimer's, right?
Yes.
Now,
was I mistaken? Did I hear somebody ask her to stand? That can't be because she's bedridden, right? Or was she in court and did somebody point her out or something? Like from the witness stand?
No, she's not there.
Also, I need to know why Harpoo and Griffin are forever having Buster stand up in court.
To show that the family supports him.
Right, but here's the thing.
From the very back row now.
If you're asking a witness to identify a person, you don't ask the fucking person to stand up.
They had the girlfriend stand up. I thought that was even more interesting. I was like, dang, all right, I guess Brooklyn, you better stand up.
Brooklyn, you in danger, girl. Run. He ain't wiped you up. You've stuck through the thick, the thin, and all the things, and he has not wiped you up. Girl, go.
Can't have another tie to any money that he may end up getting or not getting.
Where do y'all think Buster is in all of this? Do you think he had
did
he have a good relationship with Paul?
trying not to get fucking roped up into this financial shit. Guarantee
Yeah.
he's keeping a
He's
low
out there making
profile. He's like,
settlements.
and you know that he's probably like, I swear to God, Harpoo, if you call me again to stand up, I ain't standing up again.
Probably sending text or something while they're sitting in court, like, don't do that.
Right.
I find it interesting that while Buster is sitting on the defense side, it would appear to the casual observer that he's there in support of his father, when he was specifically and directly asked, of course, this is from the Daily Mail, so take it for what it's worth. He said he wasn't supporting anyone, and he didn't want it printed, and he didn't want to see it printed anywhere that he was.
He doesn't sound very supportive in all the phone calls. That's the only thing that I thought was pretty interesting, was he just doesn't sound like. But I don't know. I don't know how he ever talked to his dad before, so I guess I can't really say. But it just sounded. I don't know. He doesn't sound like he's like, it's gonna be okay, Dad. We're gonna get through this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe that's a girl thing. I don't know.
Brooks, we don't judge the Capri Suns over here. As you may or may not know, my other avatar for my for Chad is a monkey drinking a Capri Sun. And that may be the one piece of evidence that I can find some type of commonality with me and one Alex Murdaugh. I do enjoy a Capri Sun. No, my favorite are fruit punch.
Oh,
those are the ones I like. What do you like?
like
strawberry kiwi?
I do.
Of course you do.
That's my favorite. Why you gotta call me out like that, Jen? That's so much.
I like strawberry kiwi too, but my favorite are the
No,
fruit
what do you
punch.
like? Kiwi?
I'm a classic girl. I don't need a bunch of, hoopla and fuff. I like it,
I've never intentionally gone to a store to buy orange Capri Suns though. I was like, oh, all right then.
Yeah, and he wanted weird ones like or mountain water something, or mountain rolling mountain. See, that's why I buy fruit punch. I know what it says. I can think of the name. It's right there. Lots of it's easy for me to remember. Don't be coming to me with these flim-flammy crazy ass names. I ain't gonna remember that.
Oh, Tia, you guys can't use those squeeze apple sauces. They get yuck inside of them, and people don't know it.
Yeah, I don't.
You can't mess with those squeezy fruit things. They're really. I've seen them cut open, and they're gross.
Oh, this is a good point. If you look at all the family pictures, Buster is next to Alec, and Paul is on the other side of the family from Alec.
And I think Buster looked more like Alec, and Paul looked just like Maggie. If you look at them,
so too. Oh yeah,
they're like.
I thought that Paul and Alec were like buddies, and Buster and Maggie were the tight ones.
I think it was. I think it's. I don't know. I know. I do know that there's. If you Google Paul and Alex Murdaugh and you click images, there's like 1,100 images of Paul and Alec drinking together, and not like just kicking it and having a beer, like shotgunning a fucking Bud Light Lime.
Are they in their party attire?
Right. Yeah. With their red cups. Red Solo cup.
We use red Solo cups.
I love a red Solo cup too, and I'm not judging, but I also didn't, drive a boat when I was drunker than Cooter Brown, and that resulted in the death of somebody and injuring a ton of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's a whole nother live.
Right.
They would drink the Bud Light Lime, though.
Wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Oh, they definitely, they do. They look like White Claw, truly people.
Yeah, I'm a shot girl. I'm a lazy drinker. I mean, if I'm going to drink, I prefer like vodka.
Yeah.
but
I'll
if
drink
I'm gonna
anything.
sip, but if I'm gonna like go out and drink, I'm trying to, I'm a shot girl. I love a shot.
I like a beer. Nice cold beer on a hot day.
I can't do beer. I used to, but then one time when I was in high school, and just judge me if you want to, the statute of limitations is way expired on that shit, I can guarantee you. But we played a drinking game that every time he sings Roxanne, you got to take a drink. Yeah. That's a nightmare waiting to happen. That's a hangover. Just even when I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, I drank so much that night.
So when you're in my chat and Roxanne comes in and I sing Roxanne,
I have them. Yeah, it was a hell of a night. It was fun. I had a ton time, but I had a fun time. I'm still fucked up all these years later. My ass is still drunk.
Back in the day, we used to drink. I think one of the first drinks I ever had was Boone's Farm. Strawberry Hill.
The first time I ever got drunk was on some Strawberry Hill.
Yeah.
Thank you, Red Eye. I appreciate that.
And I would second that. Awesome. I agree. The other thing that we used to drink was Zima.
Oh my God. Yeah, I did drink some Zima. I did have Zimas too. That was another drinking game, but now I can't quite remember what the rules of that drinking game were. It might not even been a game. It might have been just me being like, I'm gonna get toe up. I don't know. Who knows? I was young. I could never handle Purple Passion though.
Oh, I never had
Purple Passion. That stuff was so gross. But I will say this: when I was in high school, my absolute favorite was Trash Can Punch. Everclear and what's it? What is it? Hawaiian Punch.
Oh gosh.
That sounds yummy.
It is good. Trash Can Punch.
You drink it right out of the trash can?
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trash.
You get so trash.
I'm trashed and I'm going to get trashed.
What else did we used to drink? What was the other big one? Yeah, we had Jungle Juice. But Jungle Juice was a bunch of different alcohol. That was just, you just put a bunch of different alcohol with a bunch of different fruit juices, and that was Jungle Juice.
Ooh, that's good
and
too.
You scooped it. There was one that was like Jungle Juice, but it was made, and you put ice cream in it, and I can't think of what it was called.
I don't know. I wouldn't have had it because obviously I'm a lactose intolerant.
Obviously.
I would have drank the shit out of it. I don't care.
That's something I could tell just by you talking.
She walked in the room and she's like, I'm a Mexican lactose intolerant human being.
You know what's funny?
Put all my cards on the table right when I meet you.
He's right. I'm Mexican, I'm lactose intolerant, and I like shots.
I drink a shot every time you say the word Roxanne, and we're done.
Sounds like a good time.
I am a good time.
And that's why everybody's friends with Jen. Oh my gosh, you're hilarious. Well, I'm gonna have to get off here. It's almost bedtime for my littles, and
it is for me too.
And for my Jen Lou.
And we haven't solved the damn case yet, y'all.
Nope, definitely not solved. I don't know.
What were we even doing tonight then?
I don't know. I'll say this. I started this life with the best of intentions. I thought, between all us girls.
I don't know how you thought you were going to get the group of us together and have any good intentions.
We did great. We're going to figure this out. We're going to break this trial down piece by piece and put it together the way it should have been put together. Prosecution, if you're listening, call me. I'll help you.
Yeah.
It's too late now.
Yeah, it's not too late. It's never too late.
That.
Huh?
Nah.
I said I really would like to get back together and do some more after we do a lot of digging.
Y'all got to nag me like I need to be nagged at this point. I have all the components for the Stephen Smith video. Ooh. I need to put it together and I need to put it out. But I keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because Who knows why? It's not. I don't even have a good reason. I can't even make up a good reason right now.
Oh, I really want to see that. You have to do it.
I'm gonna do it.
So do you think, after having all this research, do you think that the Murdaughs had anything to do with Stephen's death?
I think a Murdaugh did, yes.
Do you have one in mind?
I have a couple.
Okay.
You know, for a while, I'm not gonna lie. When I at first, you know, it's always been that people were thinking, you know, that it's Buster. But truth be told, the first time that the Murdaugh boys are mentioned is July 17th, and it's definitely the Murdaugh boys. And there's that, of course, Low Country, and they play some audio from police interviews. And the general consensus is that Buster wouldn't have it in him. He wasn't that type of person, but Paul definitely was. However, and now I can't remember who it was in the chat, and I feel awful for this, but she has got me looking at Randy.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, right? Mm-hmm. And then didn't Randy sue Alec? Am I making that
Murdaugh?
up? Yeah.
Oh, maybe he did. I'm not sure.
Wouldn't it be great though if you were making it up?
It happens. I get so much going on in my brain that I like literally I'm telling you, I called the other video the Snapchat video. It's just how it is, and I know myself, and that's how it will forever be.
Right. CB Kel said it. CB, I'm sorry. It was CB Kel. I am so sorry that I forgot it was you that said it to me. I apologize. But yes, you definitely got me thinking about Randy, because he was in all the places immediately. He was like a first responder. And I'm kind of wondering if Randy's role in the family isn't the fixer. But then I go back to what Stephen Smith's, I believe it's his cousin, and what she said that he had told her, and that it was somebody who was powerful, wealthy, and that if anybody ever found out, the whole town would be on fire, or something to that effect. And I'm sorry, but Buster isn't powerful. Not yet. I mean, not at that time. He was just a kid. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously he was an adult, but he was 18, 19 years old. I just don't think. Well, that's all right, CB Kel. You can have dirt under your nails for the rabbit holes, but I'm going down there with you because it actually makes sense. Thank you, Lori. Thank you very much. Oh my, here comes LFT with the third option. Alec.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you, and somebody in chat said it. He is the one that, the one case that I don't know if actually has any connection to the family.
I'm having a hard time, Teresa, getting past the fact that Randy offered to represent Stephen Smith's family. Like 15 minutes after they had the notification, they were notified.
Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there, and anybody can get mad at me, but these are personal injury attorneys.
Ambulance chasers, but but in the beginning, babe, at this point, they were calling it a homicide. So who would he be suing?
They weren't. They were calling it a hit and run.
No, not until after the autopsy. There goes Brittany too.
No, they initially thought hit and run because he was found in the road, And then they changed, but then the coroner came back and said, nope, it was a hit and run. And they were already secure on the fact that it wasn't. But I think the assumption would be he's dead in the middle of the road in the middle of the night, that it probably was a hit and run. And I think as an ambulance chaser, that'd be a case that you'd hop right on.
Well, except for the fact that according to the early reports from South Carolina Highway Patrol, they did think it was a homicide. In fact,
right off the bat, I thought they said it was
no. So this is what happened. They actually thought, the coroner himself actually thought he saw he thought it was a gunshot wound, and that's how he referred to it. But the coroner doesn't make that determination. The coroner just comes out and takes possession of the body until the medical examiner gets there, right? So then he goes for autopsy, and they only SLED and the Hampton County Sheriff's Office attended the autopsy. The Highway Patrol was told they didn't need to, and so that's when the medical examiner says he's been hit by a car. So that's when it then goes then it becomes a Highway Patrol case. And when the Highway Patrol guy asked the medical examiner, why'd you rule it this way? And she said, it's not my job to investigate, it's yours. There's all kinds of problems with that case too. So when and this is the other problem, they keep calling it reopened. In order for it to be reopened, it has to be closed. And it wasn't closed, but it wasn't being investigated as a straight homicide. So when they reopened the case in 2021, then SLED took over, took it from the Highway Patrol and turned it over to, and SLED's now investigating it.
Well, I think that they exhumed him, correct?
I know that they exhumed Gloria.
I think they exhumed Stephen too.
I don't know if they did exhume Stephen.
All right. I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to get off. It's almost 9, so I know my kids are like coming and looking at me like, what are you doing? Aren't you ever gonna come and talk to us?
Aww. All right, you guys. Well, hold on a second. Sorry, way behind. But I thought Tinsley was only going to drop Alex if there was I don't know what that word is. For the boat crash. If someone...
Like a vigilante?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I love you guys. And Jen Lou, I thank you so much for asking me to come up here.
Absolutely. Anytime.
It's like a meeting of the minds. I love it.
And then we talk about
Brittany
alcohol.
has to fall off at least, a couple more times. So
at least.
So thank you, everybody in chat for always being so kind to me. But I will talk to you guys later. Okay.
Good night. Thank you. Good night. Good night. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and think about this. What do you think, Mallory? What are your parting thoughts, babe?
I don't know. See, every time I talk this case, I just kind of get more confused than before.
Right.
Because even though we're getting more information, none of it fits nicely together. So then I'm like, I have no freaking idea.
It's like we're putting together two different puzzles.
Right. Yeah.
Like we have a puzzle and we have all the pieces, but they're not the same puzzle. It's like we got 3 or 4 different puzzles we're working on at the same time. It's very annoying and I don't really appreciate it.
No,
because it's not cohesive, and I think it actually could be. I think it's the way it's being presented to us.
Right. Yeah, I'll be interested to see if there's going to be any type of bombshell evidence. I mean, even at this point with Cousin Eddie coming up and testifying, like, what is he going to be able to testify to other than him saying that Alec paid him to do the shooting on the side of the road? Like,
allegedly,
he was there.
He confessed to Alec, or Alec confessed to Cousin Eddie that he unalived Maggie.
Right. But you also would have to look, is he going to be taken at his word?
Well, Cousin Eddie is problematic.
Right.
However,
he's not a reliable witness.
No. No, he's not. Oh, thank you, Will B. Thank you so much. I've had a channel since May of 2021, so this year will be 2 years. But I didn't go live a whole lot in the beginning. I've just really started doing it more, like Shmita this last year or something like that, being like consistent about it.
Yeah.
But I think with Cousin Eddie, I believe that if they can show the financial transfers that thank you very much, that they allege that there are, that could potentially do something to bolster Cousin Eddie's credibility.
Right.
You know what I mean? But do I think that the prosecution should be relying on Cousin Eddie to be the nail in the proverbial coffin? Hell no. First of all, Cousin Eddie would more than likely be a hostile witness because, of course, he's going to be taking the stand, and it would be really against his own interests, right? And so, I've already talked to Dr. B. That's one I know she's fine. See ya. So, she, but I don't think so. I don't think so because they're going to have something more. Hey, puppy.
Hey, puppy.
I just don't think that I don't think that Cousin Eddie is going to be this bombshell revelation. I will say the most bombshell revelation I've heard is that Maggie's entire family is testifying for the defense, which is curious.
Right.
Of course, maybe they were subpoenaed.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice.
Right. Or that Buster's only on the defense's list too. With how vocal he has been, not with how much he's been vocal about it, but just in the essence of the one time he was vocal, he was like, no, don't print that I'm supporting him.
Right.
So the fact that he's only on the defense's witness list is weird to me.
Yes.
But
what could he really offer? Let's really think about it in terms of this actual case, what he's on trial for. For the prosecution, he wasn't there. Potentially he could testify to what he saw and what was going on in the aftermath in the days, that night and in the next few days.
Right.
About what was going on, but I don't know.
I just wonder too if they know that he doesn't know anything and they could potentially just bring him up to be like, hey, look, like if anyone was going to know that he did this, it's going to be Buster and he doesn't know anything.
That's true.
And try and play it that way too and use it more of like the closest person in this scenario has no idea, like has no thought that his dad had done this or something like that. But the fact that he has been allowed to sit in there this whole time, though, to then potentially be a defense witness is also weird. So at this point, I don't think we'd need to hear from Buster, but I also think it'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting. So, Fitcher, we have not. Apparently, they are slated to testify for the defense. I don't know. There is something I would like to hear what Buster has to say, but I mean, not so much at a trial because, quite frankly, I don't think he has much to offer. But like, I
Right.
would just like to interview him myself. Buster, call me. I want to hear what you
Right.
have to say.
I don't know. I want to talk to his girlfriend.
Her too.
I think she'd have way more to say, especially if she keeps the girlfriend title versus fiance for the next couple.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, especially because why would you even want to put up with all this if you, like, I mean, I guess they could just be one of those people that don't ever want to get married, but I don't know.
Yes, will be. Anybody that gets on that stand, regardless of which side they testify for, the other side can question them. Which is why I don't think that, I don't know. I don't know if Buster, if I highly doubt that Alec is going to take the stand.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Especially after the after Tony Satterfield took the stand. I believe it was Gigi that reported, because she was in the courtroom at the time, and she reported that the jury was more or less scowling at Alec when he was testifying. So honestly, I wish that they would have tried him for the financial shit first.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if the prosecution's theory, and this is their theory, that that the motive is tied to the finances, right? Then because it's a different kind of trial, right? Like, they're not going to be able to use the murders. I mean, they'll be able to use a little bit of it, but not a lot in the financial trial. But I feel like for us watching, if we were able to see the financial trial and understand the complexities of that trial, then it might make it easier for us to understand what they're trying to do by bringing in the financials.
Right.
I mean, I think it's almost a hint. Like, I wanted to hear it, don't get me wrong, but I've been thinking about it, and it might actually be a hindrance to the prosecution in a way, because I think people are going to have a very difficult time wrapping their mind around that's the motive, not to be found out or to put stuff off or potentially have Tinsley drop him from the lawsuit or whatever. You know what I mean? Because most people would never think along those lines.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just their theory. You're right, Poppy. We don't know. And that's the thing is, they've gone so above and beyond to prove this part of their motive, right? That it is wrapped into the financial stuff. I don't know. It's a mess, and it's too much.
Yeah. It's definitely, like, I'm losing my patience.
I am too.
With
like,
all the additional shit being put into it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. This is okay. So I know that the defense opened up the door with this whole financial stuff, and the prosecution, they would be remiss if they didn't use it. Okay. But they planned the whole ass trial prior to it, not thinking that it wasn't going to be able to come in. Right. So why not present your case in the way that you intended, and then do the financial stuff? Because I really feel like it's all, because it's not cohesive and they're not laying out step by step by step by step. It's lost on the jury, and it's lost some of it. I mean, I know things that the jury, and they might know it, but they're not allowed to consider. So I know and can consider things that the jury can't. It's hard to put. I would not want to be a juror on this.
That's what I mean by like
trial.
they keep losing me because they're talking about stuff that I don't care about. Like it's all stuff that like for the majority of it, I think any wealthy family like them, like the Murdaugh family, I think a lot of them operate the same way. Unfortunately, money is power.
Right.
So, but I want to know about like the murder stuff.
Yeah.
I want to get into like the coroner's testimony, and I do want Cousin Eddie's testimony and stuff
Same.
like that. But yeah, they're losing me, and it's making me. I am missing out on important stuff because I'm skipping over all this that like I can't focus on.
Well, it's a problem because we are supposed to be listening to a murder trial.
Mm-hmm.
And yet there's very little evidence thus far that has really been put on about the actual murders.
Exactly. And the stuff that they do have, I don't think it's enough that they have presented so far that it goes beyond a reasonable doubt.
Exactly.
So I wish that they would focus more. But the coroner will be, hopefully.
No, the medical examiner,
Oh, the
babe,
medical
not the
examiner.
coroner.
One of them.
Exactly, Fitcher. The thing is, it's such a hard concept on its face, just generally speaking. But when you find out that there's literally not a financial gain, he didn't actually get money. You know what I mean? Then it's even more difficult. I don't know. We're not going to solve it tonight, that's for sure. Now my brain and my amygdala are vibrating. Well, thank you, Mallory, for coming up. I appreciate you. This was a great live, I thought.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Wish you could have talked more. I talk too much, I think.
No, I like being on panels too and just listening a lot because you guys bouncing stuff off of each other also gets my brain working. And then I'll like remember and I'll just send you a paragraph later of everything that I was thinking in between.
Oh, do that. Brittany knows how to get a hold of me.
Okay. But that's just kind of how I work. If I'm not thrown into the front, then I like to listen.
Well, you bring a lot of good stuff to panels. I've been watching, and I think you do an excellent job. I do. I think you bring a lot of when we were talking about the Idaho 4 a while back, you did give me a lot to think about. You really did.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. And Shamita, I love you. Even though you highlight things and then I try to highlight them and then it cancels it out and then it's a mess.
That happens to me, and Britt will bring people up and then she'll be trying to bring them up too, so then they'll get put down and then we'll go back and forth.
Jen loves it.
I do.
Oh.
All right. So I think I'm going to end it. You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, have a great night, guys.
That. Have a great night to you too. I'll see you around these streets.
Yeah. You know how to get a hold of me.
No, yeah, through Brittany, but tell Brittany to put you in touch with me.
I will.
All right.
I'll get it.
Okay.
Thanks again, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Good night. Bye.
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 Bye. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate this, and I hope you guys come back. I hope you stay for more, because I have a feeling that there's going to be more shenanigans in the courtroom that we're going to want to talk about, and I'll be here for it. I hope you will be too. Thank you all for coming. If you haven't done so already, give your girl a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. Hell, even a membership. We do fun stuff over here. Shamita, my love, thank you for being here, babe. I hope you have fun.
I did. It's been a hot minute since I've been able to hop up. I mean, I basically stayed on mute and like ate all my snacks and stuff.
Ooh,
but
what kind of snacks?
I had a chocolate pudding.
Snack pack?
Yeah, and an apple juice.
Mm.
And a Rice Krispie square with rainbow bits on it. And I had some chips earlier too.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
I've just been true time and snacking over here on mute.
Diane, okay, you catch the replay, babe. I hope your whole situation with the fridge gets sorted out. That's terrible. So sorry to hear that. I remember when my fridge went out. It's a pain in the butt.
Oh, we had one go out a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was trying to find one that was in stock that they
really?
could like deliver. Like, yeah, a lot of the furniture stores around here, it was like, oh yeah, we can have you one in like 3 to 4 weeks. And we're like, oh no.
We're a whole family. We need
Yeah, so trying to find that would deliver and deliver. I got one like same day delivery. It worked out, but then we had to take like the doors off the fridge. It almost didn't fit in the house.
So it was a whole big thing, huh?
It was so fun, but it all worked out. So I'm
good.
hoping that it works out for you too, Diane.
Oh, Monday. Bless it. It's not too bad. I mean, I guess it could be worse. That's 4 years old, though. Oof. All right. Well, I think I'm going to end it, you guys. Until next time, I'm going to, the Decipher Girls have a live tomorrow night about the Murdaugh fam and the financials. And so I will definitely be over there and I will share their live to the community page, whatever it's called, the community tab, the page, whatever. So you guys come over there and we'll just keep on talking Murdaugh until this shit gets solved, because the prosecution clearly ain't doing it. So it's up to us over here on these YouTube streets. All right, you guys take care until I see you again. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.